Hello and welcome to the Video Game Flashback Podcast. I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Video Game Flashback is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps. I thank each and every one of you once and always for downloading and listening to this show. It is a great pleasure to be back on board with you once again today. As, well, I'm just saying welcome to 2025, as we are about to jump into a real treat. A real treat. I mean, the last episode I thought was quite a treat. Super Mario Brothers Christmas. I mean, I hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas. Happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa. I hope everything went well for all of you during your Christmas, Hanukkah, or Kwanzaa, if you get the idea. Hope everyone is doing okay with whatever weather may be happening in your area, whether it's too hot, too cold, as this is, of course, a worldwide podcast. You can get it anywhere. Thank God for technology. But in this case, we're jumping into one of my all-time favorites. An all-time favorite. And the first in the series that I played, of course, it was not the first in terms of like which number it was, if you get the idea. You know, so you get the idea, and obviously you can already see the title of the episode. A true treat at the end of the day. My favorite, absolute favorite Mega Man of the series, Mega Man 3. Even the introduction is the best ever in the series, in my opinion. Oh my god. I mean, they all have good introductions, honestly. Even Mega Man 1's is fine. That Mega Man 2, in a lot of people's cases, is their all-time favorite and considered the best in the series. Well, it's not really far off. Mega Man 2 and Mega Man 3 are at the absolute top of the list. And to me, this one will always be number one. It's the first Mega Man game I ever played. Yeah, I was a little spoiled, you could say, because I got to have Rush, the dog Rush, which is an incredible addition to the Mega Man series. He also could slide for the first time. So I remember when first playing Mega Man 2, I was like, oh, you can't slide. And he climbs slowly up the ladders. That's kind of weird, because in Mega Man 3, he climbs so much faster. It is kind of weird, but that's how it goes. It's interesting. On Mega Man 1 is even slower and extremely hard. There's no energy tanks. At least you have energy tanks in Mega Man 2. But you're limited to only 4. In this game, it can go into double digits because there's a counter rather than just 4 little spots like there are in Mega Man 2. Like, you got to really, kind of use it or lose it type of thing. Like, once you have 4 and you see an energy tank, man, bummer. That's it. Like, use it or lose it. Kind of like vacation time at work. I think everybody can relate to that. Well, some people overuse their vacation time. That's extremely rare in my case. In fact, basically never. I'm never like, oh my God, I'm out of vacation time. But enough of that. I'd love to have vacation time to do a review for this. Otherwise, holiday time works just fine as well. Holiday time, Christmas time, and all of that. So we're going to refer to Wikipedia once again for some of our information, and we will always refer to them and give them a huge shout out. Thank you, Wikipedia, and encourage you to donate as well, because it's nice to have. Wikipedia is nice to have for a lot of reasons. So, Mega Man 3, stylized as Mega Man 3 with the Roman numeral, of course, is a 1990 action platform game developed and published by Capcom for the Nintendo Entertainment System. It is the third game of the original Mega Man series, which, of course, is my all-time favorite. Mega Man X does very little for me, I'm going to be honest with you. I might review the first Mega Man X someday. I don't know. It doesn't do much for me. I just don't know. Kind of like Castlevania. Once it got to be 3D, no, that's okay. I'm sorry. I'm not interested at all. Like, nah, I'll pass. No, really, I'll pass. Anyhow, this was originally released in Japan, Mega Man 3 that is, on September 28th, 1990. One of the great years of all time in my opinion, even though it was extremely sad to see the 1980s go. In that case, 9 months in the past already. Man, wow. And you consider how long ago 1990 is, and the 80s were already over. Man, life is really fast. The game was released in North America later in 1990 and in European regions by Nintendo in 1992. So they had to really wait. Taking place after the events of Mega Man 2. So this is more of a, it's a direct sequel. The plot follows that the hero, it follows the hero that as he helps his creator, Dr. Light, and supposedly former enemy, Dr. Wily. Supposedly former enemy? Yeah, because... yeah, he keeps coming back. Collect parts for a peacekeeping robot by defeating several robot monsters that have gone haywire. That's really weird. So they were actually working together to build the peacekeeping robot. That ends up being the last boss. Spoiler alert. Anyhow, real big surprise though that Wily's actually evil. Oh, no. Wily's good now. You know, he's on our side. We're going to keep peace here. Yeah, sure. A lot like politicians peacekeeping my Eutoxis. Anyhow, an action platform game, Mega Man 3 follows the same format set forth by its two predecessors. The player, as Mega Man, of course, must complete a series of stages in any order. Just like other Mega Man games, you can choose. It's non-linear at the beginning. But as you get past that, it gets a little bit more linear. In this case, you still have a choice, though, once there's a next group of monsters to choose from. I suppose that did happen in some of the Game Boy versions as well. In fact, and we will review those someday in the future. We are going to review all the NES versions. Yes, even the next three that I don't like as much as the first three. I just don't. It's kind of like Star Wars in a way. Well, yeah, like the ones that came out way back in the day. I think they're better than the three that came out in the 2000s. I think they're better, even though those were prequels, which is really interesting. Anyhow, that was really weird how that all kind of turned out. But defeating the stage boss, of course, just like before, will earn the player the special weapon, be it the quick boomerang in Mega Man 2, the Shadow Star in this one. That one's an awesome weapon. Awesome. Not quite as versatile as the Metal Blade, but we'll continue. You get the can be selected and used at will throughout the rest of the game, just like other Mega Man games. Mega Man 3 introduces new gameplay elements such as Mega Man's canine sidekick, Rush, and the ability to slide along the ground, which I think is awesome. Yeah, it's really fun. I like being able to slide, and plus there are areas you have to by pressing down and A. Anyhow, unlike the first two and you have to have a direction pointed if you want to go a certain way, like right or left, yeah. Unlike the first two installments of the series, artist and designer Keiji Inafune has considered the creation of Mega Man 3 to be very stressful due to time constraints and his own increased responsibilities during its development. Mega Man 2 did have a lot of time constraints as well. You'll hear about that on Video Games 101. I'll give him a free plug. What the heck? On YouTube. Awesome. God, that guy's so cool. The professor. Yep. I should have him on the show as a guest. Wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that be cool? I mean, he sounds like the coolest guy ever, doesn't he? I don't know. Most of you probably don't even know who he is, but yeah, Professor Briggins. Yeah, it's just like a nickname, kind of like I'm Paladino Joey. Welcome to my class. I'm Paladino Joey. Yeah. Following the success of Mega Man 2, released 2 years earlier, Mega Man 3 has sold 1.17 million copies and has been positively received in critical reviews. Its presentation and gameplay have been especially praised, although many sources found the game to be too difficult. That's very interesting. A lot of people found Mega Man 3 to be too difficult. I feel very proud about that. You know why? Yeah, I'll complete in a second. I found it to be incredibly easy, and Mega Man 2 is harder in my opinion, in some ways. I think it kind of is. I think the plows here, the big boy, that's good. No, Mega Man 3 seemed a lot easier, than 2, partially because of Rush's versatility. Nothing like a cinnamon tea. But that was good. See, Mega Man 2, the items like I talked about in the past are a lot stiffer. Like item 2, it just rockets forward. You could actually fall off the damn thing if you're not careful. The Rush jet. You are in control. You know what Mega Man 3 is to me? It's like Castlevania 4 to the angry video game nerd. There's another shout out. Unintentional, but yeah, he doesn't need me. He's got a bajillion fans. But way before I even, But you're in control. Like in Castlevania 4, you can whip in any direction. You can crouch and walk. You can still whip when you're crouching. Like in Castlevania 4, we're going to review that someday. Where like Mega Man 2 is stiffer, like Castlevania 3 is stiffer, Castlevania 2 and 1 stiffer. This one, it's not as stiff. You're a lot more in control. So that's probably what I love about this game so much. Other than the box art is freaking awesome compared to like the others. I mean, he looks like Mega Man finally, and just that 3 with that metallic red blade-looking thing. Oh, it's so freaking cool. It's so cool. Like it looks like. I don't know if it looks like like a rim without a tire. No, it looks more like a blade. It's like a metal blade, but like a metallic red. It's freaking cool. Anyhow, where was I? The presentation and gameplay have been praised. Yep, they thought it was too difficult. Like other titles in the series, Mega Man 3 has been re-released several. I don't really remember that. Where though? Okay, mobile phones. Yeah, but how can you play it, though? You can't play. So you're not in control on a mobile phone. Touchscreen and a Mega Man game, it doesn't work. If you can play it on a touchscreen, good for you. That's great. I mean, all more power to you, but I don't know. I need a controller in my hand, man, to play an action platformer like this. Yeah. Has been re-released several times on different platforms, mobile phones, and as part of various Mega Man franchise compilations. A sequel, Mega Man 4, was released in 1991. But yeah, we're not talking about that right yet. We'll get to that someday. I'm not as excited as about that one. The time in this one, the setting is in the 21st century, of course. In Mega Man 2, it's 2000X, which is weird. So that could have been like 2009 or earlier. Really? That looks more like 2050 or something. Well, you could potentially be 2050 in this one because it's 20XX. So that's good. But it's only 2 to 3 months after Mega Man 2. So it's either 2010 or we're making it 20XX for Mega Man 2 also. The mad scientist Dr. Wily, having twice had plans for world domination dashed or foiled or whatever, claims to have reformed. He's better now, and begins work with Dr. Light on a project to build a peacekeeping robot named Gamma. Isn't that messed up? Isn't that messed up? So, and for the longest time, I don't even remember seeing this as part of the story. So I feel kind of weird right now thinking that. I don't even remember that it's a story until not that long ago. But anyhow, Robot Masters, Top Man, Shadow Man, Spark Man, Magnet Man, Hard Man, Snake Man, Gemini Man, and Needle Man, in charge of a set of mining worlds, however, go berserk and make off with Gamma's 8 power crystals. Mega Man is called into action, this time with a canine companion named Rush, to retrieve the crystals from the sites. Yeah. Anyhow, throughout his mission, the protagonist continuously encounters and spars with Breakman. Yeah, that's another interesting character that's been added to the mix, at least by this stage. A masked foe who has abilities comparable to Mega Man's own. Very comparable. Coincidence, huh? Yeah, we'll talk about that at the end. A lot of you know it, but I don't want to spoil it at the moment. Maybe I'll spoil it as we move. But, yeah, I'm glad I'm doing this game third. I did 1 after 2 for what the heck, I don't know, because 2 I just really wanted to do for Christmas special 2 years ago. It's a very early release in the video game flashback history banks there, so do check that out. About 2 years ago already, if you can believe it. Yeah, it's, last year's Christmas special was Bible Adventures. That was fun. It's fun, and AVGN definitely motivated me for that over the years. Like, I always wanted to do like a Bible Adventures or something at Christmas time, because I love that video. It's one of his oldest, way back in the day now. We talk about old stuff. It's old. But yeah, Mega Man 2, near the beginning there. So scroll way down, basically, or however you have your podcast set up in order. But yes, Breakman has abilities very comparable to Mega Man's. After Mega Man destroys the 8 robots, he then revisits 4 of the mining sites to face off against 8 dock robots. Yep, so it's like a second group. They possess the abilities of the robot masters from Mega Man's previous missions. So yes, all these same guys from Mega Man 2, Quickman, Sparkman, yeah, sure. Quickman, Metal Man, and all of them are back in a dock robot machine, which are very tough, actually. They're very tough stages. Very tough, and we'll talk about that when we get there as well. Once the crystals are retrieved, Wily reverts to his evil ways, steals Gamma, and retreats to his own fortress. To stop Wily's newest plan to conquer the world, Mega Man destroys Gamma and defeats Wily in a final confrontation. As the fortress begins to crumble, Breakman appears. Okay, here we go. And, okay, yes, we'll spoil it right now. What the heck, because you probably know already. Breakman appears in enough time to save Mega Man, but it's too late to save Wily. Yeah, but he didn't get killed, though. He's seen being crushed under the rubble. Yeah, sure. Wily's dead. Yeah, right. When Mega Man regains consciousness in Dr. Light's lab, his creator informs him that Breakman is actually his older brother, Proto Man. Spoiler alert, but I already spoiled it. Yes, it's his older brother. And if you played this game, well, it's okay. It came out in 1990, so it's okay. I hope I'm not pissing anybody off by saying that right now. But it is what it is. God, the game's awesome. Oh, I mean, expect a bunch of fives. Seriously, it's so much fun. Let's get to some of the other technical information. Developer Capcom, we already said. Publishers in Japan and North America, Capcom. But the European Union, it was Nintendo. So interesting how Nintendo kind of took over the Capcom game in the European Union. Directors, Masayoshi Kurokawa. That's the director. The producer, Tokuro Fujiwara. These names sound very familiar, don't they? Designers, Masayoshi Kurosawa, Keiji Inafune, Yoshinori Tanaka. That's not that hard. Tanaka. Programmers, Tadashi Kawana. Artists, Keiji Inafune, Yasuaki Kishimoto. Oh, it just rolls right off your tongue. I love that last name, Kishimoto. Oh. Akayemi Iwasaki, Saki, Miki Kajima, and then composers. God, the music's good in this game. Yasuaki Fujita and Harumi Fujita. Series Mega Man, platforms Nintendo Entertainment System, PlayStation, mobile phone, iOS, that'd be Apple, and Android. Release dates. Come on, you can show more than that. What's going on here? September 28, 1990. Gee, thanks. Yeah, here we go. Japan, September 28, 1990. North America, November 1990. European Union, February 20th, 1992. Gosh, Zelda 2 is almost, or Zelda, whatever the heck they call it. Link to the Past was already coming out around then. Something like that, anyway. PlayStation in Japan, I don't remember that. Yeah, because it didn't come here. So, September 14th, 1999. Mobile phone, Japan, April 1st, 2005. North America, August 19th, 2008. Android, iOS. Good Lord. Waited into Android and iOS. Okay. Worldwide, January 5th, 2017. Genre, action platform. Mode, single player. Arcade system. Play choice 10. Okay, yeah. Play choice 10. Well, anything else we want to get to other than other stories that I've probably mentioned in the past, but I'll mention them here. I don't need to babble too much more about some of the technical information, but maybe some of the stories with this one. Obviously not a Christmas special. This is starting off in January because, well, I think this is when I finally got the game, was around winter. It was like I started playing it after Christmas when I finally was able to acquire it as a used game from Funcoland, if I remember correctly, unless it was from a video rental store. It might have been a video rental store. I don't think it was Funcoland, and I got it like an old beat-up box, and I don't think the manual came. That's why I didn't know much about the peacekeeping robot actually being Dr. Light and Dr. Wily collaborating once upon a time. But, I don't know. Why would you work with Dr. Wily? Have you not learned anything? I mean, deals with the devil here, buddy. They were friends before, too. And then he, surprise, surprise, stabbed him in the back again. But, surprise, surprise, again, Dr. Wily lost again. But, anyhow, I rented it from Bigelow Video. Remember that? Yeah, remember those stories? In the late 80s into early 90s, rented it from Bigelow Video. For years, my brother made fun of, oh, they Mega Man's like silly. It's the same bad guy every time. That's dumb. You know, he's making fun of it. So he's like, yeah, he never would like be interested in renting or playing it. So it's like, all of a sudden one day I'm like, you know what? I believe after I had played Mega Man 2 on LCD, Tiger LCD, the little Tiger electronic game, Quick Man and all of them, you know, on there, Metal Man. It was really fun. I enjoyed it, even though it's just a silly LCD game. I thought it was really fun. And then it's like, well, they don't have Mega Man 2. God, I love it. You know, and I've always had a special place in my heart for the box art of Mega Man 2 because it was perfectly on the LCD game, just like the Mega Man 3 on the LCD as well. I rented Mega Man 3 because that's what they had there, and it was pretty new at the time. This is probably, it was around that time, like 1991. I think it was in the early 91, like around winter. Yeah, because the game didn't come out until the end of 1990, so it must have been insanely new. So early 91, 5th grade is what I was in early 91. I was the second half of the year in 5th grade, third semester approximately. Yeah, third semester of the year. And rented it and was blown away. Absolutely blown away. I couldn't believe what I was playing. Like, this is freaking awesome. And what's also great is, I believe my friend, I forget which, I think it was Matt. Yes. He let me, I don't know if he let me borrow it or just let me have it flat out. Just, oh yeah, you can have it, because he didn't care. A magazine where it was Mega Man 3. It had, you know, there was a guide of Mega Man 3 and it tons of stuff in there. Like, Mega Man 3 was on the title. I mean, it was the coolest Nintendo Power ever. It was a Nintendo Power around that time. And I played through the game. Oh my God. Oh, it was so much fun. I played through the game and beat it. I couldn't believe it. I just beat the game. Like, it was, you know, obviously the player's guide helps a lot, but you still have to frickin' do it. It's just about knowledge of what you need to use on the bad guys and such. Obviously, you know, so obviously the player's guide helped, yes, in the Nintendo Power, but still, I mean, I was just blown away with the music, the graphics, the gameplay. I fell in love with Mega Man. I just fell in love with it that day. It's not like I beat it right away. It was in multiple sittings thanks to the password system. You know, where I pulled out the cute little notebook. I have something similar right here. Not exactly the same. Oh, yeah, here's one. Tiny little spiral notebook. Remember those? They still exist, believe it or not. They used to be called memo books. Remember those? Some of us that are old enough? It even says memo pad right here. Listen to that. Fresh little paper. Older than hell. But no, I draw those little squares and then the lines. You know, I have the 3 lines this down and 3 lines up, or 3 lines vertical, 3 lines horizontal. And you put in the dots. I believe there's, we'll talk about the dots later, but the red and blue different dots. I'd have the, I forget which one. One of them would just be a circle and the other would be filled out. I think the circle one are the reddish pink, and then the blue ones would be full. That's how I did it. That's how I was able to do it with a pencil, or, you know, those pen tools. Those were already around by then, which were a more neat version of a pencil, where it's a little thing, you know, little skinny little piece of lead that you'd fill up the pen tools with. Pretty convenient and easier to erase too if you needed to. So that's how I was able to kind of keep going. I did beat it though, because I guess, it was over the course of renting it, so it was only a couple of days, but man, I enjoyed the hell out of it, and it didn't take that long either. Yes, the player's guide in the Nintendo Power helped, but I couldn't put that book down for years. Dead serious, I was obsessed with it. Fell in love with the game, the music, and oh my God. But then you go to Target. I've told this story before in previous episodes, and there it's hanging on that thing. 50 frickin' bucks. Now, was it worth 50 bucks? Yeah, sure. But I didn't work back then. How old was I? You know, 91, I must have been turning 12. 12-year-olds usually don't work regular jobs where they can make 50 bucks and go buy a video game, right? Back in 1990, early 91, 50 bucks is a lot of money. Like, it's over $100 now for one game. Do you realize the difference? Just think about it. Like, I should pull out the inflation calculator on that one. 50 frickin' bucks. $49.99 Target in, like the Ridgedale area. If you happen to live in the Twin Cities, you know what that is, especially the west side of the Twin Cities. I'm going to do this real quick. Doggone it. In 1991, worth today. Holy mother of Moses. So it would have been like about $116. Yep. Well, it was brand new and sealed. Unfortunately, I never owned a brand new sealed copy, so that meant I also never had a manual. I had a beat-up box. Exciting. I don't think I ever owned I never owned a manual for Mega Man 3 where I could have maybe read the story about Gamma being stolen. So I didn't really learn about that until, let's just say, way later. Pretty much, when, working on the review here. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, pretty much. It's like I always thought that was just Dr. Wily doing that crap. Like, yeah, he just built the robot and he calls it peacekeeping. Like he's going to take over the world, kind of like New World Order. It's all about peace. Yeah, sure, it's real peaceful. Sure. Yeah, New World Order, that, if you ever heard of it. But, yeah, it was an incredible experience. But then a year later or so, still 50 frickin' bucks. Mega Man 2, $39.99. And then, okay, well, my parents offered Mega Man 2, $39.99. It's a little bit cheaper. And back then, $10, it was a difference. See, nowadays, it's just $10. Who gives a crap? Back then, $10. If you looked at the $116 difference, yeah, that's about a $20, $30 difference nowadays. You know what I'm saying? So, it's like $25 difference, basically, approximately. If I'm doing kind of just screwing around in my head, $23, $24, something like that. So I understood, and they were generous as all heck. How could I complain? How could I possibly complain? I got a brand new Mega Man 2 at the time, and whoo, that was fun. And yes, that's why that became a Christmas special. And then years and years later, so the Mega Man 2 one was the Christmas of 91 into 92. Yes, 91 into 92. So Mega Man 2 was still pretty new at the time. It was only 3 years old. But I remember being like, damn, it's slower. It's weird. And then all the years later, finally 95-ish, I believe. I don't know if it was Hollywood Video, I think it was called at the time, was dumping it off because they're kind of moving on to newer game systems because they would rent, Hollywood Video rented video games too, of course. If you didn't know, of course they did. They were dumping off a lot of cool games like that. I forget if it was Mr. Movies or Hollywood Video. Crazy to think how many video stores there were. There was a Mr. Movies just pretty much across the street from a Hollywood Video here in Golden Valley, Minnesota. They're just down the street, basically, from where I'm living now. Not back then. It was a little bit further, but still Golden Valley. One of them I wound up getting Castlevania 4 for $15 and Mega Man 3 for $15 on different days. Used beat up boxes, but it's yours, damn it. It's yours, and the game worked well. It wasn't in perfect shape or anything, but it worked perfectly fine. And I think I had been struggling in school at the time, so my parents suspended me from playing video games. But it was after Christmas. This was after Christmas, and I was already suspended from playing video games, or it was the day before going back to school, so early January, nudge, when this is coming out. I got to play through it. I asked if I could just play it for a little bit, a couple hours or something. And I simply beat the whole damn game in less than 2 hours, just because I was so excited and I enjoyed the hell out of it. So that's kind of my story there about finally getting the game. I think I used Christmas money, which was it was only about $15. When I saw that just sitting there on, I don't know if it was January 1st, 2nd, something like that, I almost fainted. Oh my gosh, really? I can have Mega Man 3? Oh my gosh. It was 95, but still. Better late than never. And it was all mine. Felt like $1 million. I think I was in 9th grade. That's why I was suspended from playing games at the time, because my grades sucked in 9th grade. They sucked. So it must have been 94 into early 95. My grades sucked. So I'm telling you, this is actually perfect timing for the release of this, because that's 30 whole years ago. Oh my God, that's a long time ago. So perfect release. That actually just kind of is a coincidence, but sometimes coincidences happen when we do this. So that's the story. Other than that, I think I've babbled enough about the fun story with this game and how much it means to me, because it means so much. Now we're going to play it together. We're going to listen to some amazing music and go through it again. Ladies and gentlemen, Mega Man 3. Now we're on the select screen. Well, you can kind of go in multiple directions. I used to start with Hard Man. In fact, actually, that's typically where I'd start. But I've learned, I guess, start with Magnet Man to make Hard Man a little bit easier. Unfortunately, Magnet Man's level is pretty tough in terms of, the appearing, disappearing platforms, and of course, magnetizing areas. That can be quite dangerous. Oftentimes, I'd want to use the Rush Jet and wait till much later to even get to Magnet Man. But I'm going to go with Magnet Man. Just to be challenged, I guess. We'll give it a shot here. This is where the game actually does seem hard, when you start out with absolutely nothing. So Magnet Man it is, and easily one of the best songs in the entire game. Isn't that an awesome song? It's so relaxing and fun. I used to imagine this was like Friday at work, or at work, or at school actually back then, because this was school. Like it's Friday, but kind of relaxed, chill. I've always been the relaxed, chill type of guy when it comes to Friday, not the hyper, make a lot of noise and act like a jackass. That's never been my thing. I'm just like to relax on a Friday. Maybe get stuff done and such, but maybe I don't want to get into that rant. So here's where we get our first introduction with Breakman. That's where we first see him, at least in this version. Oftentimes, the best way to handle him is maybe to slide underneath him and keep shooting away. He's actually quite tedious to battle. It takes a while to get him. And, yeah, there's no real easy way to beat him. You just kind of do it, that type of thing. So, when he does go away, it's nice, and he opens up the pathway for you. But, I don't know, it's kind of like he's training you, like, for future stuff. Interestingly, in the cartoon years later, Breakman was a bad guy, so it's kind of interesting how he goes bad in the cartoon. But, I don't know, it's just a cartoon anyway. Then you get the funny looking characters that look like eyeballs with tennis shoes kind of coming at you. I feel naked right now. I don't have the shadow attack to go after them. Because I usually, when I beat Magnet Man in the past, I'd already have the shadow, star. So I feel a little weird right now playing it like this for the first time basically ever. And of course you get these these electronic magnets that suck you in. Ugh, kind of tough. Any type of energy pills you can get are a dang relief. Again, on the first level you play through the game, it's not easy. Then of course the appearing and disappearing platforms is extremely annoying, and man, I wish I had the Rush Jet right about now. Of course, my idiot self forgets you do start the game with the Rush Coil, so that does help a lot. Yes, the Rush Coil is like it's a springboard. So, yes, you do start off the game with the Rush Coil, so that's nice. You don't have to defeat any enemy to get it. And then there's a real cruel part where there's a pit as well as magnetized and the appearing, disappearing platforms. Really tough, but once you get past that, the level starts to get easier, kind of. And remember, when you see spikes in a Mega Man game, instant death, kind of like Castlevania. Uh-oh. And then you finally get to Magnet Man and you get your first crack at the boss music. Cool stuff. I like the boss music in this game. It's very intense, and it's Mega Man being Mega Man in a lot of ways. So Magnet Man does a lot of jumping around, shooting magnets at you, and then he does the magnetizing effect, which tries to suck you in, and also at the same time, kind of like he's kind of similar to Heat Man a little bit. Like when he's kind of trying to suck you in, he's invincible. So be wary of that. I think it's good to keep your distance from him, and then when he jumps, try to slide underneath him. Unsuccessfully in a lot of cases, but once in a while you'll be successful. Sometimes you'll be successful. Sometimes you won't. The slide effect does help you get away from him if he's really close by when he tries to suck you in with his magnetizing. But once you get used to the timing and the sliding, you can beat him. He's not that hard. He's not the hardest guy of all time. It's quite a battle, boy. Let me tell you, it is, because you don't have any special weapon. Otherwise, the spark shot will beat him if you want to go about it that way. The reason why he often is thought of as the first guy to go after is because he's more vulnerable to the regular, Mega Buster or whatever you want to call it. So that's kind of why. He's more vulnerable than, say, Hardman, where it takes like a million shots. But I still tend to beat Hardman with the Mega Shots. It's hard too, but now we can go to Hardman with the Magnet Missile. That's their next destination. And you do just get the Magnet Missile. That's the only weapon you get. So that's fine. There's no special... there's no special rush weapon yet, so Hardman is next on the docket. Hardman it is, and a hard level it is indeed. Kind of a cool background, very Rocky Mountains-ish. I don't know if this is in Colorado or what. There's honeybees, robots dropping bees, smaller bees down. So it's kind of like replacing the birds, dropping smaller birds in Mega Man 2. Remember that. Lots of fun. You can pick up some power-ups along the way, but unfortunately with the up and down terrain, it's a little bit of a headache at times. So bear with it. You also have the chompy things that come out of the what appear to be blue tubes or such. So you have that to deal with. Again, you'll also notice, like I've talked about, Mega Man climbs way, way, way faster in this version of, in Mega Man 3 versus Mega Man 1 and 2. It's kind of cool, and of course being able to slide. You get the interesting, I don't know what you'd call him, like a hammer thrower character, not hammer brother. You can only damage them when their eye is open. So they're always fun to deal with, I suppose. You get the funky monkey-looking characters, which kind of reminds you of parts in Woodman's level. So this kind of has a bit of bits and pieces, almost like shoutouts to like Mega Man 2 off and on. But you could argue like more advanced versions of it. A nice trick to beat the hammer thrower character, if you're on a ladder, is to, because you can climb up just enough that it's still hitting him without you being in range of the hammer coming at you. So that's always a wonderful thing. The monkeys, it's almost best to avoid them, but if you can shoot them before they jump off the wall or the ceiling, whatever, get them. They're almost trying to be bats or something. I don't know. Then you get the workman-like hard hat characters, which are kind of fun and cool. I didn't really talk about that much yet. This is where you first start really seeing them, at least as long as you do it in this order. Yeah, they're in those caterpillar-looking machines. You get your first energy tank finally. That feels like $1 million, and you may or may not need it versus Hardman. Previously, there was a pretty good chance you did if you were using just the Mega Buster, but with the Magnet Missiles, it should be a lot easier. We'll have to find out, though. Then you get what they call in the Player's Guide, or the Nintendo Power at the time, Double Trouble, where you have the chompy items coming out of the tubes, and you have to deal with the bees at the same time. You also meet up with Breakman again, so a second time already, and it's what appears to be a closed floor, so you have to beat him, and once you do beat him, he'll open the closed floor for you. Sound good? It's an extremely tedious fight that just feels like it's never going to end, so that's what I don't like. In the Magna Man level, the ground is level. In this one, the ground is not level. So that's kind of what Hardman Stage is all about in a lot of ways, is things are not level. You get this interesting, large character who just gave me a 1-up, I appreciate it, that when you can damage him only when he opens his eyes. He's very large, jumps up and down, but doesn't take a whole lot of damage really to beat, and I do believe you can beat them quickly with a hard knuckle, but I don't have a hard knuckle yet. Otherwise, now it's time for a boss again. Ready for some more boss music? Ah yes, my old friend Hardman. It's been a little while. Not that long though, because I still play this game nicely. I've already hit him 3 times and he's pretty much half drained, so I believe it's 7 shots? I do believe so. Of course I've been missing a lot. These get used up quicker than other items like the Star Shadow, but still got him. I got him. The magnets tend to magnetize towards Hardman, but not always. Not always. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But now the hard knuckle, nice, powerful, strong weapon. Wonderful. Happy to have it. And one character right away that's weak against it would be Top Man. I don't believe we get a rush. No, they announce it right away. It's not like Mega Man 2. So we move on to Top Man. That's where we're going to top things off for the third level of the game here. Top Man. Well, I have pretty good memories of this one because I do believe he's the very first Robot Master I ever beat in an NES game. Not the LCD versions of, Mega Man 2 or whatever. It's kind of a cool, unique looking level. Looks very nature-like. And then the items, you remember the tellies in Mega Man 2? Video Games 101, Professor Briggins calls them hamburgers, basically. They look like little hamburger characters. They're replaced with what appear to be 2 bolts getting together and attacking you. Kind of interesting. So very mechanical combined with nature. You get all these obnoxious jumping around characters that look like, they're not the eyeballs of shoes, but they kind of are. And then you get the Top Man kind of characters that look similar to, you remember the little miniature airmen in the Airman level? Well, these are like Top Men kind of built that way, kind of muscular looking, well, husky. They're more maybe heavy set than strong, but I guess you can be both. Watch out for the spikes, as you're going to run into that eventually. But the telly characters in this one, it's like 2 bolts kind of getting together in between like a screw type of thing. They're kind of screwing themselves together. I don't know. It's weird. But, and then they come and attack you and follow you around. So, weird. They don't have the eyeballs like the tellies do. There's also an optional 1-up and large energy pellet if you need the pellet, but 1-ups are always great to have. depending on where you are in this game, talent level and such, but whatever. Rush coil. Remember, you do have the rush coil no matter what other items you have in the game. You already have the rush coil, so take advantage of it since you have it. Also, another shout out to the Mega Man 2. Remember the fire-breathing, like, wolf character? Now you have a kitty cat throwing what look like bouncing yarn balls at you. Well, not quite as mean, but the cat looks mean. But a kitty cat throwing yarn balls at you, or a fire-breathing wolf? I don't know. Getting a little soft, are we? Maybe. You can also kill the cats with 3 hard knuckles if you want to. So that's if you want to get rid of them a little quicker, because the Mega Buster feels like it takes like 25,000 hits. It's annoying. It's really freaking annoying. Yes, this level does have a bunch of little spots where you could die instantly, like spiked areas and such. So watch out for that. Otherwise, it's not too hard, except for that, Mrs. Lincoln. And then there's the spinning top area where you're kind of spinning platform top areas, which used to scare the crap out of me back in the day. It's not as hard as it looks, but it's also not that easy either. You have to time things better, and I'm distracted sometimes when I'm recording and doing it at the same time, so there's a little bit of that too. Yeah. One thing that I always forget to talk about when I'm playing Mega Man 3 that I always kind of liked back in the day is every time he lands, you can hear him, on his feet. It makes a sound, which I don't believe that was in Mega Man 1 or 2. So that's kind of another interesting little addition where it's more kind of like, semi-realistic, you know what I mean? Another thing of note, the annoying tops that the miniature top man, or whatever the heck you call him, starts throwing at you. They, when they die, they can give you, when you shoot the tops, they can give you power-ups, including something as exciting as a 1-up. So, yeah, from 1-ups to small energy pellets, weapon tanks, whatever. So you can get any of that. It's possible. So if you need it, go for it. And overall, the stupid spinning top part, the real trick of that is just keep moving. If you slow down and kind of panic a little bit, you're probably going to run out of space and fall. So that's how you take care of that section, really. Otherwise, you go right to Top Man. We don't need to play the boss music again every 10 seconds, I suppose. It might be kind of annoying. Then you pull out the hard knuckle and hit Top Man when he's vulnerable, and he's gone pretty quick. When he's spinning, he is invincible. Isn't that always nice? And his weapons are fairly strong too, which is annoying, but I'm not sure how I beat this guy, honestly, with energy, with regular shots, but when you have the hard knuckle, he's not too hard. It's only about 5 hits. Just time it. The pattern is not too hard once you get it. You can slide out of the way, and that's, again, what makes this game more fun. And then you get the, you get the top. Yay. Basically, you spin, and that's the only weapon you can use against Shadow Man, pretty much. He's extremely strong defensively. Shadow Man's like a combination of Metal Man and Quick Man, as far as I'm concerned. But anyhow, it's called Top Spin. So basically, once you equip it, you spin, and it either gets used up insanely fast or not at all, basically hardly. But when you're running into something, it can be used up incredibly fast. Sometimes I don't understand how that even works. So it can be super annoying. So, yeah, it kind of depends on how stuck you are into the opponent that you're hitting. You can even use it against Dr. Wily late in the game, but that's a spoiler alert. It's actually not the best choice. It just does work, that's all. So, really, oftentimes, is where we go next, is Shadow Man. Oh, dear. It's one of the hardest levels in the entire game. Oh, Shadow Man. Yeah, this is it's one of the harder levels in the game, and Shadow Man is one of the harder bosses in the game. The music's really cool, though. You'll hear it on my Timberwolves Explosion podcast, no doubt about that. It's a fun one. You get those, I don't know, they look like the top of can-looking characters that shoot out of their sides, I guess. Interesting. Of course, the shoe-looking characters that jump, not the ones that just kind of walk. The construction working hard hat, not just the hard hat by himself. And guess what? Another Breakman appearance. Ugh, too much. It's like we're getting Breakman 3 in a row. I think it does die down after this though, right? Oh yeah. One interesting bit of note here that tells you how ignorant I was when I first played this game, and I can't even believe I was this ignorant. So Shadow Man is the first level I ever selected, if I remember correctly. And when I first saw Breakman, just a few screens in, I thought, wow, I'm at Shadow Man already. No, you're not at Shadow Man, no. But he opens the pathway for you after you beat him and take some significant damage. And of course you get those cute little eyeball characters with the big shoes. I get a kick out of them, even though they can be annoying if you're not paying attention. So yeah, well, it looks, I don't know if that's lava coming down or just red water or oil or whatever. Let's just assume it's water, though I don't know why there's water. There's these grenade looking characters. I don't know why it took me so long to realize what they are. And then these interesting characters that are, I guess it's like anti-light. So when they're floating on top of the screen, they everything goes dark. I also noticed that they flash when everything goes dark, so that's interesting. Yeah, but when you kill them, everything lights up again, or you walk them off the screen, you could say. The characters that hang out at the top of the, it's like light-sucking whatever. Sounds pretty weird and creepy at the same time. You can watch out for those stupid grenade characters, because when you shoot them, they do blow up, and that will cause damage. Yay, isn't that cool? So yeah, watch out. It is a grenade, so what do you expect? And is it just me, or is this game pretty generous with the extra life deal? It seems to be. Well, but at the same time, yeah, it is kind of difficult, isn't it? Maybe they were right about the difficulty, but I got kind of used to it over the course of time. I'll note again, the graphics are just gorgeous. It's kind of like, say, Mega Man 2's graphics are beautiful, right? But it's almost like going from Castlevania 1 to Castlevania 2, how the graphics just like, whoa, the colors and everything just kind of jump at you on Castlevania 2 versus Castlevania 1. Now, of course, in that case, better graphics and colors do not make the better game, but Castlevania 2 is better looking, no doubt. In this case, I think these are both probably easily the two best games in the history of the NES when it comes to Mega Man. The two best Mega Man games on the NES out of the 6, and Mega Man 1 is third in my opinion. I think the 4, 5, 6, just, well, maybe I'll fall in love with them more when I actually play through them and do reviews, which I will do, spoiler alert, in future November reviews and such, because it feels like November is a Mega Man thing. It really does. Also got 4 more Game Boy ones to do, so I'm happy. I'm looking forward to it. This could last for many years. And then we get to another, you could call it double trouble-ish part of the level, which I used to think you needed Rush Jet to get through here. You know, that's kind of how I used to be. I used to be like, I can't do this, I can't do that. I don't know, I was kind of a wuss of a gamer back in the day. Oh boy, my aggressiveness paid off. I finally got a big energy pellet. This game is so bleeping stingy about that. So what's happening here is you're jumping across platforms and you get these parachuting, I don't know if they're called jets. I think they are called jets. I don't know why, but they're like heads that basically blow up parachutes. Like as they come down, they just kind of look like they're going and open up a parachute and slow down, and they can be very tough. Trick is you just kind of nudge forward so they come early, like ahead of you. Because if you come as they're coming down, you land on the platform as they're coming down to that particular platform, then yeah, they will be a massive trouble. So what you want to do is trigger them to come down early, and then you blow their bleeping head off and move on. Also watch out for the jumping shoe guys, not the cute little ones with the eyeballs. The dragonflies are incredibly difficult, and they move very quickly. So what do you do? Wait for them to come at you from behind and jump over them. Otherwise, it's time for Shadow Man. Oh boy, get ready for a very tough fight. Yeah, so you gotta go after him with the top man, at least in the way I'm set up. I guess we'll cue the boss music for now. So yeah, once you're equipped with the top man, you look kind of like the top man, or top whatever, spin is what it's called. You look like you look like Bubble Lead or Bubble Lead in Mega Man 2. This guy moves very quickly. He's not as scary as Quick Man, but again, the trick is you want to kind of hit him sideways Yeah, that seems to be what it is. Because if you kind of go direct, it sucks up your energy. It's like you're kind of just spinning without anywhere to go, kind of like a rain wrap tornado, I guess you could say. Even though those are the most dangerous tornadoes of all, because you can't see them, especially at night. That's basically a death trap. But off of weather, now that I'm talking about weather, yeah, you kind of want to get kind of close, but close enough to make contact. Now you also get the Shadow Blade and the Rush Marine. Sorry, before I'm getting off track here. You get the Rush Marine, so that's great for going underwater. You'll definitely need that for the Gemini level, and obviously Dr. Wily stages and such. We'll get back to that. But yes, get close enough to make contact, but it's as if you're kind of hitting them with your fist as you're spinning, that kind of way. You'll do the proper damage without using up your energy, without using up your weapon, basically, like killing the weapon energy, not killing yourself. And of course, the most damage you can take when fighting a Robot Master is to make contact with the Robot Master versus the weapons. Always remember that. If the Robot Master collides into you, you're going to take about 1/4 the damage. It bleeping sucks. Whereas like a weapon damage generally is, it's about half that. I would say about 1/8. So, you can survive and all that. Or if you take weapon damage. I'm not trying to do anything perfect here. Just want to get through the dang game and give you a good solid review about Mega Man 3. On to, I believe it will be Snake Man next. That's going to be where we're headed. Snake Man it is. Snake Man indeed. This might have been the second level I ever beat. Maybe. I don't know. It's one that I always kind of enjoyed. The music is pretty good. It's a very summery level. You have these jumping pogo stick looking guys. You have snakes. In fact, now I'm starting to think this is the first guy I beat. I don't remember. It was either this guy or Top Man. But at the end of the day, it's like beating either one of them super early doesn't really... I don't know. I guess you beat them early, that kind of thing. It doesn't really help as much as you think it would. You'd rather kind of start with some of the others first. I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter. It just kind of puts in motion the way things go. Every monster has a weakness, and you got to continue. But you'd think you'd want to have other weapons before you take on Gemini Man. That's kind of my thought process here. Like, say if I wanted to beat Snake Man first and then go straight to Gemini Man? I don't know. Not without the Rush Marine. And probably not without the Star either. That's obviously very helpful on this level, as you have a lot of snakehead characters, and then you have the large giant snakehead, which can be taken out with just a couple of hard knuckles if you want to do that. I think that's a better way to go about it. The graphics are awesome, the animation. Only 2 hard knuckles take out those giant snakeheads, or snake characters that have the rumbling ground and all of that. A lot of obnoxious monsters in this level, honestly. Music is good, but the level's annoying. No doubt about it. Helicopter characters that drop something. I guess it's like a bomb, sort of. Yeah, kinda. There's some energy pellets you could get. Save them if you don't need them right away, because you might need them later. You just don't know. Yeah, it's definitely not the easiest level in the world. You get a pogo stick spring-looking guy that you can hurt after he starts running ahead of you. So you kind of jump, let him run ahead of you, and then take him out from behind, which is kind of mean and cowardly, I guess. But I guess we're just mean and cowards here on Video Game Flashback. The hammer thrower makes a comeback, but of course, again, the hard knuckle makes quick work of him. So hard knuckle comes in handy off and on through this level, no doubt. When you get to a point where there's a choice between 2 ladders, take the right one first, and then you get question mark little things. It's almost like a little gift. Shoot them with your Mega Buster, whatever the hell it's called. Unfortunately, in my case, I just got the big energy pellet's nice, and then a little one. Sometimes you get an energy tank and an extra guy or something if you're really lucky. That's awesome, but that's extremely rare. For some reason, my jumping just sucks right now. Like, my timing is just terrible. I couldn't even get a freaking small weapon capsule for my hard knuckle because my jumping has just been so pathetic. But luckily not falling off the edge or anything. Also want to note they are extremely generous with the energy pellets in this level. There's at least 3 free ones just kind of sitting around. Then you get the weird looking character climbing around on the ladder. It looks like he's got a small little energy pellet flashing on his back. That's where the Shadow Star comes in handy. You shoot up straight and take him out in one hit. Sound like a plan? Or you can do a diagonal shot as well, but whatever. That's usually the best way to go, though, is to shoot up with the Shadow Star. Yeah, otherwise if you're climbing up with 2 walls in between you, you can use a Gemini shot as well. It'll bounce off the ricochet off the walls and eventually take out the opponent, but that's kind of risky. It just might miss. And then once you get up that ladder, you're coming out and you're thinking, is this Snake Man or Airman's level? Well, yeah, a little bit of Airman. A little bit. Yeah, you get these propellered platforms coming up out of these tubes, I guess, and these clouded missiles that speed up once you shoot the cloud off of them. It's pretty annoying. They kind of beeline towards you. They only take a couple of hits if you want to take them out with your shot, but they get in the way and they can make you fall too. So extremely hazardous area. Actually, I freaking hate it, to be quite honest with you. Best practice with those stupid like clouded missiles is to kind of shoot them in an area, like shoot them once where they'll beeline it in an area that has no chance of really being a huge threat. And then you just keep moving. Otherwise, that way you get them out of the way so they can't knock you off. But man, there's always that knockoff effect. That Castlevania 1, 2, 3 effect. Just makes your back shake like, no. Oh, chills down your spine. Otherwise, Snake Man it is. Should we switch to the boss music? Not this time. You can't do it every time. It's like, okay, Joey, stop playing the stupid song every time. Right? There's the platform in the middle. You can shoot through it, so that's helpful. You can jump on it and you can shoot through it. Snake Man is beatable. He's not easy. You do want to be accurate with your shots if humanly possible. Try not to get hit by him. You'd rather get hit by the snakes that he shoots out. Again, the Shadow Star is the way to take him out, slowly but surely. It does take several hits, like 12 or so. And then eventually you do get the Snake Search, which is useful against Gemini Man and Dr. Wily later. Yeah, but yes, it's definitely good against Gemini Man for sure. Search, Snake, green and white, kind of like the New York Jets. You look like Aaron Rodgers, or Sam Darnold years ago, or Geno Smith, or Joe Namath. Joe Namath, who once upon a time forgot where he was and said he wanted to kiss the sideline reporter. Yeah, that was really bad, but we'll get off of that real quick if we can. Down to the three corners remaining: Needleman, Sparkman, and Gemini Man. Classic names. Gemini Man is next. You can tell I'm not all that thrilled about it. The music, well, it's good quality, but I don't know. You know what I always used to think it sounds like? It sounds like you have a cold or something. I don't know. But yeah, Gemini Man, here we go. Oh, Gemini level. Okay, well, you look like you're kind of in outer space or the moon or whatever. Well, it's not on Earth anyway. Please, I suppose you could be on Earth. I don't know. It doesn't look earthly to me. It looks very frozen. Very frozen. And it's kind of like, you know how these games it's almost like a shout out to the previous one? Well, and plus there's like alien looking penguins, robotic penguins and whatever, these UFO looking characters flying around. And the penguins shoot out eggs, okay. That's interesting. Yeah. I don't know where this is supposed to be, but it's kind of like a nighttime outer space Flashman level, I guess. How, again, it does feel like I was saying in the past, shout outs to previous games, off and on, like again, Airman, basically on the Snake Man level at the time. Extra guy floating around for me once in a while. Again, this game is fairly generous with extra guys at times. Not always generous, but sometimes. And then you get a very weird appearance by Breakman with this area that you can't get into. He just kind of shows up, blows it up for you, and that's it. So, interesting. Always extremely interesting. It's like, he's not your enemy, is he? No, he isn't. Not until the cartoon, anyway, which was weird. Like, oh, Breakman, he joined Wily. But in this game, he's not your enemy. Simply not. He's just kind of out there. An optional extra guy if you want to use the rush coil to get it. Of course, once you get down into the lower area, which looks kind of like you're under the sea, yet outer space-ish under the sea. I don't know, like DuckTales on the moon or something. That's kind of what it feels like. It's really cool, actually. The graphics are nice. The music is good quality, but kind of depressing. And check that. The only part you can get with the coil is probably the energy pellet again, the big energy pellet. The extra guy, you pretty much need like a rush jet to get there. Maybe I'm just full of crap. But like if you had an item 1 in Mega Man, like a floating platform, you could probably get it. But I don't have a item 1 from Mega Man. Then you run into an area where there's like a bajillion little eggs. You shoot it once, it becomes a little fish. Shoot it twice, and then you potentially could pick up a ton of power-ups. Because there's a lot of eggs. It's like, what do they call that stuff? The heck do they call that stuff? That's the little fish eggs. It's kind of like large caviar in a lot of ways. That's the word I was thinking about, caviar. I'm like, caviar. I knew it started with the C. It's like, oh, yeah, caviar. The salty little fish eggs. I haven't had that in a long time, over 20 years. It's got to be. I'm not rich enough, damn it. Well, no, I don't know. I don't think I am. It's not really common anymore either. A lot of people don't like it, I guess. I think it's good, though. Dang it. You also kind of have to work your way around to the other side, and in some cases, to be able to get certain items like the little question mark box. You don't want to shoot it, accidentally like try to jump up with the rush coil and shoot it. The trick is to kind of go around and shoot from the other side to try to get rid of some of those eggs to eventually work your way to the question mark little box capsule thingy. Odds are it'll be nothing special, but every now and then it just might be something very special. Yeah, it was a big energy pellet for me, which is good, but I was full. You know, sometimes it's extremely necessary, so look at it however you will. It's just random. Because of parts like this, this level takes much longer than other levels in this game. You're just going to spend a lot of time screwing around, shooting the eggs, hoping to get extra guys or God knows what else. And no, unfortunately, the shadow doesn't work. The only thing that works on these eggs is the Mega Buster. So bad news there. Unfortunately, that's just a stupid reality of it all. Once you start getting past that nonsense and start seeing dragonflies and such, eventually you're going to see giant penguin robot characters that you shoot in the head, basically. And again, similar to Mega Man 2, the bigger characters you have to shoot several times that blow up. Again, kind of like the big snake and all that in the previous level. Once you start getting further and further down, and you eventually start seeing water, yep, that's when you have an idea that you're going to start using the Rush Marine. At least you can if you have it. Some people can beat this without the Rush Marine, but I like to use the Rush Marine. It's because you could fall in, and if you do fall in, you're dead. Plus, there's an extra life down there that helps too. It's an incentive and an energy tank, and you can also jump out of the water with your Rush Marine. Yes, you can, to get the weapon capsule that you'll need to help fill up your Rush Marine a little bit. You are under attack constantly, and I mean constantly. You can also use the Rush Marine to jump around and kind of like a safety net type of thing. But the fact that you can get two energy tanks down in this little area is pretty freaking cool. If you're careful and you don't fall and you are gutsy enough to go for them. But they're actually not that hard to reach. So to go from 1 to 3 energy tanks, you feel pretty good. I'm surprised I only have 3. What the heck? But I did use one on... I did use one earlier, if I'm thinking correctly. Now I'm getting mixed up with playing Mega Man 2 last night on my own, just playing around for fun. I don't know. My mind's all messed up right now. After that, you're pretty much ready to take on old Gemini Man, so pull out that Surge Snake, get ready to go. Gemini Man splits in 2. That's why it's Gemini. Like Gemini, you know, it's supposed to be like twins, whatever. So eventually one of them dies, but the Surge Snake is extremely effective. It you barely, I mean, you shoot like a bajillion of them and it barely goes down. And it's very effective against both Geminis, I guess you could call it. One disappears and then the other one is just the main guy, I guess, remaining. Take him out and you get the Gemini laser, which then ricochets off of walls. It can be extremely powerful when it makes contact, but extremely annoying as it bounces all over the place if it misses. It's a sky blue and white color. Sky blue and white, kind of cool. I guess it's kind of like the equivalent to Airman in terms of your colors, I guess. But then again, maybe that's kind of like Hard Knuckle or I don't know. Otherwise, Needleman and Sparkman remain. Are we going to spark things up or are we going to start needling people? I don't know. Let's spark things up, I think. I keep getting mixed up in where I usually like to go with this. As now memory serves me, yes. Rush Jet is acquired by defeating Needleman, and I think Sparkman is much more dangerous in terms of like not having Rush Jet. So Needleman it is. That's what's going to be next. Now I remember. Yep, it was after Gemini, you go straight to Needleman, and it makes sense because you have the Gemini laser. That's Needleman's weakness, at least his main one. So Needleman, let's needle things up, baby. Needleman, yeah, this one. I remember the first time I came to this stage, I was ill prepared and like, what the heck? Like, whoa. It was a definite shocker in my first time playing through this game, playing Needleman. Well, the music's okay. The background's kind of cool. Kind of looks like Airman a little bit, but it's like ground Airman, I guess you could say. You got porcupine characters, robots, of course, because everything's a robot. They shoot porcupines at you and spin like Sonic the Hedgehog. Interesting, but I suppose Sonic the Hedgehog is kind of like that. They take several hits. Sure, there's an alternative, but I don't have the patience to play around with those guys. This level definitely has a bunch of hard hats, big and small, but I suppose there's the big ones actually later on. When you're at the Doc Robot stage. It almost looks like you're on some kind of a pirate ship, if anything, in the background. And then you get kind of like cannons and such. It would look like torn up old sails. That's what it kind of looks like, I suppose. Hard to say. Sorry if I'm whispering. Just trying to be careful not to wake someone up at the wrong place, wrong time. So, yeah, you get a lot going on. It's a busy screen, hard hats. What are they called? Dragonfly characters. Dragonflies, of course. So, kind of an annoying level with a lot going on, to be quite honest. Then you get the needles that come out of the, yes, the needles that come out of the ceiling. They do not kill you in one hit, but they do a pretty good amount of damage. You have to kind of watch the pattern as they become more and more needles. Slide move does come in handy, but it doesn't guarantee anything necessarily. You could still get hit at times if your timing is off. There is a place to get the energy tank if you happen to have Rush Jet, which, why would you? This is the Needleman stage. This is where you get it. You can rush coil your way up there, so yes, go ahead and use that. I do like on this game how when you're on the top of the ladder or close to it, Mega Man actually kind of ducks by default. So when you got those hammer-throwing jackasses, yeah, you can kind of, that's when you're trying to shoot them without getting too high to get hit by the hammer. So it's kind of cool. Another level, it's not too long once you get, you're like, okay, it's a fairly nice relief once you get through it. Obviously, the Gemini is his weakness. You want to time your shots, because if you miss, it's going to bounce around the screen forever, and it's really freaking annoying. So be wary of that. Oof. But occasionally that thing bouncing around will hit him, and it's awesome. I literally survived with my last little teeny little bar remaining. I mean, it's unbelievable. Imagine like your battery on your phone is at 1%. It's pretty much what happened, because I got to him with about 50%, and I survived. Go me. Yay. So I got the needle cannon, which is another one of those weapons that you can use a lot without using up the energy too quickly. And of course, probably the item of the game, if we're, if we're going to call something that, the rush jet's got to pretty much be the item of the game. Weapon of the game, I'd have to say, is the shadow, the shadow star. But the item of the game is rush jet, no doubt. So now we're on to our very final robot master, Sparkman. He's got spark, I'll give him that. That was funny, not. Yes. Well, the music's pretty good, if you notice. And I always get a kick out of that little character, the eyeball character with the shoes. It's just the kind of the shoes and the way it moves, and it kind of goes with the music. You'll also notice like basement 1 and first floor. It's kind of cool. You'll see those little signs on the walls. Lots of electric circuits moving around and all that such. You have these fireball light, well, not fireball, it looks kind of like light bulbs that can connect electric currents. So you have to kind of wait for that current to kind of stop for a little bit and kill that. Otherwise you have what look like plugs coming out of chutes, like wall plugs coming out of chutes that can hurt you, of course. They're all enemies. It's kind of cool. Graphics, nice background, well, not that great. More the character design is what's interesting on this level so far. Then when you get to the area that's pretty much called the second floor, you can see it right there on the wall. You have these things that go up into spikes that'll kill you in one hit. This is where I often use the rush jet. It's like if you have it, use it. Like use it or lose it, that kind of thing. Like what's the point? One major trick you can do with saving power on the rush jet, as long as you can't put yourself in risk, like you don't put yourself into risk like hitting a spike or something or a bad guy, you can jump up and down on the rush jet. It'll actually save the energy. Isn't that cool? Because if you stand on the rush jet, the power drains and drains and drains. But if you're not on the rush jet the whole time, the power does not drain. You understand? So it's a huge saver. Try it. Not to brag or anything, but I've learned that on my own. This was not from anybody's YouTube video or player's guide or anything like that. Learned it completely on my own. Plus, also, you notice, like say you're on a platform, and the rush jet follows you underneath. So it's kind of like a little safety net as well, where you're not having to ride the rush jet around. It's like a little safety net you could have underneath the platform. Isn't that cool? Kind of cool, depending on where you set it up and all that. You jump off the rush jet. It's really freaking cool. Why do you think it's the item of the game? Then you get to an area where you're free falling for a long time. Insert the free falling song. No, I'm not going to do that. Don't want to get copyright issues here. Kind of reminds you of Mega Man 2 a bit. There's a couple of levels like that, of course, where you're falling down, like Quick Man and such. Obviously in the Dr. Wily stages, but you have to worry about spikes. No spikes, at least not in this fall. So that's a good thing. You have a Gutsman looking stuff coming down out of chutes here. Where's Gutsman when you need him? Or the Guts whatever, like the weapon. Don't have it. Dang. Oh well. That's how that goes. Once again, I like to use the rush jet when you get to the area with the, the platforms that go up into spikes. I don't want to risk it. I don't want to fall, and I don't want to hit the spikes. I just want to get through the stupid level, especially when you can use the rush jet. Like, use it. Why not? After that, you get to Sparkman, and we get to hear the boss music one more time, at least for the final of the regular Robot Masters. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. You're going to want the Spark against this guy. Excuse me, did I say Spark? The Shadow Blade, excuse me. Yes, almost looks like Snake Man's screen. I think it is Snake Man's screen, or Spark Man's screen on Snake Man's level, but different background. How creative. Anyhow, 7 hits, he's extremely easy if you have the Shadow Blade. Yeah, and you get the Spark Shot, I believe it's called. If I remember correctly, that's effective against Magnet Man, because you're going to be fighting Magnet Man again later. You know how you refight the bosses again in Dr. Wily stages. Yeah, it's not the first time. Spark Shock, not Shot. Shock, sorry. Yes, yep, and it's not as big as his. But now you'll notice the 4 of the screens, or the Snake Man, Top Man, and Magnet Man screens look like they're busted up and falling apart. And now Needle Man, Shadow Man, Gemini Man, and Spark Man all have this strange-looking robot on there. Well, we'll find out what those are in a moment. Well, yes, it's Mega Man 2 related, but you will be fighting these large robots and all of that. So with Mega Man 2 characters inside, where do we go from here, boys? Where do we go from here? So basically for now, I'm going to play the Stage Select song. And so, of course, what happens in these Doc Robot stages is it's basically, well, if you hadn't guessed, harder versions of these levels. I mean, much harder versions, and you're fighting 2, that's right, 2 Doc Robots, 2 Mega Man characters in each level. So the Spark Man stage will start off with, once you get about halfway through, you'll fight Metal Man. So there's 2 bosses in each stage, think about it. Metal Man, we'll talk about what to do there, and then Quick Man. We'll talk about what to do there, but luckily it's not. He's not as hard in this one because you already have a weapon to fight against him. Not as hard as in Mega Man 2, at least in my opinion. So usually I go to Spark Man first. I believe I go to Shadow Man next. Then you have Woodman and Heat Man there. And Woodman and Heat Man. After that, let's see, did I say Shadow Man? Then I go to the Needle Man. Nope, Needle Man's going to be last. I think that's the hardest. Gemini Man is typically third for me. Flash Man and Bubble Man are there. And then Needle Man, of course, I think is the hardest of all. Again, they are much harder stages compared to the, the original version when you're just going to Needle Man. So, much harder. And again, the fact you have to deal with 2 bosses, 2. So, obviously, resources and such. Mostly your energy more so than your weapons, because you're only going to use the weapon on that one guy. You're probably not going to use it on the other one in the same case. Airman stage, I think, is the hardest. That's where you're going to have Airman. Excuse me, Needle Man. Yeah, you'll fight Airman and Crash Man, who I think are probably about the 2 hardest guys in Mega Man 2 anyway, outside of Quick Man. I think they're freaking hard. So, yep, that's going to be the case. So that's where we're going to go in Spark Man. It is. Cue the Spark Man song one more time. And here we are, the Sparkman stage again, Doc Robot version. You'll notice, yeah, it's just a different vibe. Everything is a little bit kind of, less user-friendly. There's no ladder to climb up. You have to actually use Rush Coil just to get to the second platform, just to get up the platform at the beginning of the level. It's it's just an indicator. Things are busted up a bit. It's just, different vibe. I already said that like 6 times. Also, when you're climbing up this long ladder, now there's like something in the way, so you got to shoot it, like I talked about earlier. Either Gemini laser, have it ricochet off the wall, or the, Shadow Blade. I recommend the Shadow Blade. It's just you just shoot it straight up, and plus, it could possibly drop some kind of item for you. Always good if you can get that. Now you get these spinning, look like screws, so that's you can kind of guess how that works. Obviously, it can kind of push you off the edge and such. So kind of the double trouble effect, the plugs coming out of the chutes, and the spinning platforms, which are basically like a screw or nut or bolt or whatever the heck it is. Did someone say Shadow Blade? I did, yeah, again, that's kind of the closest thing to what you could get, like a Metal Blade coming up, and that's going to be the first robot master you're going to be dealing with in the not too distant future. You got pits to deal with and all of that as well, so it's kind of like triple trouble. Then you get the spikes. Sometimes just, you know, don't take chances. Just use the rush jet if you feel, you know, even slightly threatened by it. Because like I was talking earlier, there's a way to basically use the rush jet and not even use one single bar, or maybe 1 or 2 bars total, getting across an entire screen, where you just kind of have it as like a safety net where it'll catch you, so to speak, if you fall. So kind of smart stuff, because he follows you as you go. It's freaking cool. And then we get to our first robot boss, which is fairly early, I suppose. Again, these levels really aren't that long. So when you get to the halfway point, yeah. So metal and magnet and metal, yeah. Well, so it's kind of like a semi-common sense thing, I guess. I don't know if magnets necessarily damage metal, but in this case they will. You're seeing Metal Man go right into that big robot. Looks like a Gizmo Duck outfit, almost. Kind of. I can't believe how much damage he's getting on me. But unfortunately, yeah, the magnet missiles get used up very quickly. So that kind of stinks. The good news is, though, is that you do get a large energy pellet after the battle. Bad news is, remember how you're falling down about this point in the original Sparkman level? This is why my memory was like, where's all the spikes? Yeah, because there's spikes now. One hit, and you're dead. Cool, huh? Wouldn't that be fun to just free fall and there's spikes all over the place? Oh, man, wouldn't that be fun? Then you deal with those electric current type of things and those screw tellies, you know, those tellies that screw together, basically is what they are, and they come at you after they're done screwing together. Yeah, it's fun. Then the part up ahead that has me always begging for rush jet, when you get to the chute where the junk comes out, like metal squashed junk, basically like Gutsman type stuff, Gutsman bricks basically coming out of the chute, and, you know, like pits. So yes, just rush jet. Play it safe. Why not? Rush Jet literally makes a hard game easy. Of course, to trigger Rush Jet, you do have to step on him at least once, but then you could be like jumping up and down, and you're not using hardly any energy at all. Remember how he's talking about it? And he stays underneath you. So it's like, yeah, that's the trick. That's the... I don't know if it's a glitch or if it's just being a smart gamer that figures that kind of stuff out. Well, I'm just a smart gamer, right? Otherwise, quick man. Oh, goody. So Gemini Laser or Search Snake. I'm going to try Gemini Laser first. What the heck? That's kind of like where I started. But if you miss, it's a real headache, because obviously, is Quickman fast or slow? I think he's fast. He's not slow man, is he? And the Gemini lasers can be slow if you miss. So be accurate, otherwise use Search Snake and try your best with that. Yeah, no, Search Snake. It's funny how the player's guides tell you, oh, you should absolutely use Gemini Laser, not Search Snake. The Gemini Laser does less damage, and if you miss, you're pretty much effed, because you can't shoot again, and you can't switch your weapons. The Search Snake does more damage. So, I don't know. What would I rather? Search Snake. Yeah, use Search Snake. Oh, the satisfaction. It is a grueling battle, and you may have to use an energy tank, and it's not the end of the world if you do. It is a grueling battle. Ooh, you do have to get pretty close, and yes, you can absolutely miss. Quickman is... Man, I hate him. But I'm so happy to be done. Metal Man, Quickman. Actually, you know, in a lot of ways, my 2 favorite robot masters in Mega Man 2, in terms of just kind of being interested, and they're cool, you know, cool-looking robot masters, but intimidating as heck is Quickman. Oh my God, he's tough. But it's over. You do not get their weapons, unfortunately. Like in Dr. Wily's Revenge, you do get their weapons. In this game, you don't. So, no quick boomerang. You have to play Mega Man 2, dang it, or Dr. Wily's Revenge. After this, I'm trying to remember. I usually go to Shadow Man, if I remember correctly. Yes, Woodman and Heat Man. Oh boy, the heat is on. The heat is on. Shadow Man, cue the music. Oh boy, well, Shadow Man again, and There's spikes everywhere. Wonderful. Well, are you surprised? So yes, this is where people probably say this game is significantly harder than others. Well, again, if you have Rush Jet and you know what you're doing, it's not too bad. If you don't know what you're doing, yeah, this game is really hard. It's that kind of thing. A lot of people complained about the Doc Robot stages. That's what I was hearing was the number one complaint is, why do we have to do this again? It's just stupid. Kind of. Yeah, it kind of is a little bit. But I don't know. Man, that was a kind of a duel. The good part is your weapons and all that do get replenished after the battle. It's not quite like the Wily stages where they don't. You know how they do that in Mega Man games? Yeah, that make it harder. You have to replenish it kind of slowly but surely as you get weapon capsules throughout the Wily stages in all of the Mega Man games that I remember. Of course, you get a bunch of those tennis shoe looking, well, those eyeballs with tennis shoe looking guys that I think are entertaining to... They're entertaining. They can be a pain in the butt too if you're not careful. Rush Jet, Rush Jet, Rush Jet, Rush Jet. Again, as you get these platforms that open up and can cause you to fall. And then these stupid grenade sons of biscuits that I can't stand. Yeah, they're annoying too. It can be a huge problem. So, yes, there's double trouble, but if you have Rush Jet and you know what you're doing, Mega Man 3 is not that hard. If you don't, yeah, okay, I've repeated myself about 50 times already. Sorry. So, Woodman, do we cue the boss music? Nah, let's just keep going. Maybe I should be cueing the boss music on the final boss of each stage. So it's Woodman at the beginning here. So we don't have needle, or excuse me, yeah, there I go, spoiling it. We don't have the buzzsaw or fire, but we do have needles. So it's like hammering nails into that wood. Well, that's kind of what we're doing. So the needle cannon it is. We're going to fire a nail gun or needle gun or whatever into Woodman as he slowly descends into the Doc Robot thingy my bobby. He's Gizmo Duck, I tell ya. Gizmo Duck. Of course, you get the annoying leaf shield. Yeah, well, that's Woodman. But after he throws his shield, you're able to jump over it, which I wasn't because I'm slow on my trigger there. Yeah, I did it again. I suck sometimes. But yeah, time your jumps and fire away, basically. Again, you get through him and you get your large energy pellet. Kind of, again, like in Mega Man Dr. Wily's Revenge. Every time you beat one, or, you know, those other games, when you beat the, you know, the previous games or current games, bad guys, you usually get a large energy pellet, not tank, after defeating the boss. But it's not in the it's not in the fight screen. It's right after the screen as you're continuing the level because, well, you're not done yet, unfortunately, you know. After you get past a few hammer-throwing nuisances, you have the screen with the parachuting guys, and now there's spikes on the ceiling. Did someone say Rush Jet? I did. I didn't say McDonald's, I said Rush Jet. Well, that's an old commercial, but I'll say it anyway. Did somebody say Rush Jet? Yeah, I did. Okay, that wasn't funny anymore. Oh boy. Especially when you press the pause button, that's not funny either, because then guess what happens? Rush Jet has to reset. That's smart stuff, right? Thankfully, I did not die because I was already on the platform, so it's just a little irritating taking little hits that I didn't need to, that kind of thing. This level's actually incredibly short, though, for some reason. So, but then, yeah, because once you get past that really difficult part, you're pretty much at the boss, who, yeah, ends up being Heat Man. The heat is on, the heat is on. And after, well, when you get to Heat Man, what do you use against him on the Shadow Man stage? The Shadow Blade. Sure, okay. But unfortunately, again, similar to Woodman, he does have a defensive shield when he powers up. So that's annoying. But, well, you remember that from Mega Man 2, don't you? Don't you now? Well, I do. I say let's cue the boss music. It's been a minute. And, well, it's kind of fun when we're fighting the Doc robots. It seems more intense, doesn't it? Anyhow, Heat Man. Yeah, well, the strategy's the same. It's just you're using the Shadow Blade instead of, you know, it's the same as it was in Mega Man 2. Just you're using the Shadow Blade instead of the Bubble Lead. You might end up having to use an energy tank depending on how good or bad you are at this. Yeah, I don't know, your timing sometimes stinks and that. Good stuff. When you beat him, it's a relief. He's not easy. I don't know. Some of you might do better at it than I did, but I don't know. Some of the bosses in this game are freaking hard, and That was one, unfortunately. So I'm not going to Needle Man next. I'm going to Gemini Man next. So cue the Gemini Man music, at least the level. Yay. Well, here we are, Gemini stage all over again, and of course, yes, like always, it's going to be kind of a busted up, meaner, more difficult level, and all of that cute stuff. The beginning looks kind of the same, but then you get these little creatures on the ground, so those are annoying. You're going to see a lot of that coming out of basically like spots underwater, but you're going to see them now too. Yeah, it's a lot busier level, believe me. It's almost like Moon Patrol or something. I mean, it's pretty, I don't know. It's a pretty annoying level, actually. There's a lot going on. Like you have the same eyeball creatures flying around, dropping like plasma bombs or whatever the heck it is. No penguins this time. You have those contraptions on the ground, which again makes you feel like it's, was it like Moon Patrol or something? All those lunar machines, lunar landing machines, driving around on the surface, kind of ramming into you. It's annoying. Also, back in the day, I didn't recognize and appreciate the way the screen scrolls. It looks pretty cool how obviously the ground you're walking on moves faster than the background, like the stars and such, which has more of a 3D look without it being 3D. That's what I like the most. The most frustrating part about the Shadow Blade is that it does not go down diagonal, only up, straight up, obviously left, right, and then diagonal up. Left or right. There's no down at all. So that's one thing I don't like about the Shadow Blade. So it's definitely less mobile than the than the Metal Blade. But it does have the boomerang effect just like the quick boomerangs, and it does come back to you like the quick boomerangs. Not sure I'd want to catch a ninja star coming my way, but well, let's just keep going. What's the biggest improvement since the last time we came here? Rush Jet. You can certainly rack up the extra lives with all these fish egg deals. This caviar, gigantic robotic caviar, bionic caviar is probably the best way to describe it. You can definitely rack up the extra lives. Too bad they don't drop energy tanks, but maybe, just maybe in one of those question mark capsules, you just might get an energy tank. Maybe. It's all random. Guess what I got? A small energy pellet. Yay. So exciting. Kind of like scratch offs. You win like $1 back. Oh, but I gotta keep scratching. Oh, come on, keep going. Oh, just go home. After what felt like eternity messing around shooting all those bionic caviar, you finally eventually get to Flashman. You're going to use either the needle cannon or the Gemini laser. You can probably guess where I'm headed. Let's go with the needle cannon. Gemini laser bounces around all over the place. Flashman, though not as easy as he is in Mega Man 2, because once you have the Metal Blade, it's like he's just like worthless. You can't do bleep, This one, yeah, the needle cannon beats the crap out of him. He does freeze you momentarily, or freeze time or whatever. My God, the son of a bitch just like stands right on top of you. What the heck? What a freak. Yeah, that was annoying. Yeah, so again, the Metal Blade pushes him backwards in Mega Man 2. This one, nothing pushes him backwards, so it's a little bit more annoying, and I'm not seeing any power-up either, so how generous. Thanks, guys. But I did rack up a bajillion extra lives in that. Well, I have 10 lives. But messing around with that bionic caviar, so if I lose a life, oh darn, I don't really care. As long as I keep the energy tanks, they're more important. So they don't give you any large energy pellet this time. What a-holes. But there is a crack in the coral rock, whatever the heck it is, where those annoying little lunar lander things pop out. You can shoot those over and over and over again, hoping to get lucky with some energy pellets, or if you just want to keep going, it's up to you. After that, it's time for good old Rush Marine again. This is pretty much one of the only levels in the game where you need it, 1000%. But yeah, unfortunately, everything is kind of hard to reach, and you get hit all the time. Yeah, it's annoying. It's an annoying little level. It really is. Man, but somebody dropped a large energy pellet. Thank you. It took like 50 years for one of those, but boy, did I need it. And boy, does this look familiar. Yeah, the screen, you're going up, and there's a bunch of little helicopter little guys flying around that you can shoot because there's nothing left. They don't have any missile or bomb to drop on you. They're just flying around like drones. Then you get faster moving and faster coming. So that is actually, so that's it, yeah. So the little things that you see walking around and coming out of the cracks are those same little things that climb the ladders and have that little energy pellet on their back. Okay, that's what I thought. So, yep, now I got reconfirmed on that one. Unfortunately, these things are smart and they do follow you when you go forward. So they don't just go one way, no, they will follow you. And they can't climb on the rocks, so they can climb on the ladder. So, pretty annoying. Watch out for that crap. And standing underneath the hole was real smart on my part. Yeah, they're everywhere. They're like little cockroaches. Ugh. Freaking bionic cockroaches from hell. Gemini man hell, basically. Whatever the heck this is. Man, it's just too much. Too much going on. Too much. My brain can't process it, damn it. Then we get to Bubble Man after dealing with all of that cockroach nonsense. Bionic cockroaches. That should be what those things are called. They kind of are. They're just bugs coming out of the wall and being a pain in the butt. So you get to Bubble Man. You're going to burst his bubble with Spark Shock or Shadow Blade. Pick your choice. I'm going to try Spark Shock. What the heck? The ceiling does have spikes, so don't jump too hard. Yeah, no. Be careful. Right? He's not the fastest moving guy, but he ain't the slowest either. He jumps up and down, which is annoying, but Spark Shock does a lot of damage. And his bubble leads are not too bad. Most of the damage comes from him trying to kamikaze into you, but he doesn't move that quick. That was fairly easy. It's a nice relief after all that stupid frickin' level that took way too long. It's over, but now the hardest of them all before heading into the Dr. Wily stages. Needleman Part Duh. Oh Lord, this is a different ballgame. This one's harder than the others in my opinion. It is. You'll also notice things have changed completely tonight. It was a beautiful sunny day last time we were here in Needleland, Needleman Land or Needleland or Needle, whatever the heck it is. It's, it's tough. But it is what it is. We got to get the job done. What do we have? Airman and Crashman, two of the hardest guys in Mega Man 2. Also, of course, the same obnoxious extending and contracting metallic needles coming out of either the floor or the ceiling. So yeah, it's a lot of the same junk with a lot with a little extra as well. There's some real interesting baddies coming up soon. And when it comes to Rush Jet, use it or lose the game. Yeah, you're not going to lose Rush Jet. Well, you can lose it by standing on it too long. That's where you got to jump and jump. It's a trick. Use it. Use the trick. That's where you could say use it or lose it. Energy tank again. I love that. The energy tank is back again, just like it was first time we were here. Isn't that cool? Isn't that generous? So at least they're generous about some things in this game. So apparently with our friend Airman, it's going to be the Spark Shock or the Magnet Missile. I'm going to try Spark Shock first. Let's see what happens, right? It's like I remember kind of both. I remember kind of like Spark Shock more, and of course, yes, the stupid tornadoes are indestructible. Spark Shock isn't doing too much damage, unfortunately. Yeah, and he's doing a lot of damage on me. That's what he likes to do. But he doesn't have any he does have invincibility with those stupid tornadoes. I did beat him fairly soundly with the Spark Shock. Of course, used a significant amount of it, but obviously the magnet missiles run out pretty quick too. And there's no energy pellet. It's a weapon capsule. Well, I guess fill up the Spark Shock. You may or may not need it, but oh well, use it, I guess. I think I mentioned something about the Rush Jet. Yeah, you absolutely have to use it here because there's a large opening. But they talk about, oh, you're going to run out of energy. And no, you're not. Not if you just jump up and down on the Rush Jet. This is where I first actually kind of started doing that. Because it's like, yeah, you're going to run out of energy. You're going to run out of, like, the weapon capsule, whatever, the energy for the thing. Anyway, plus, well, there's capsules everywhere. So it's like, don't panic. Just jump up and down. It's dorky, but it's awesome. I'd rather be dorky than lose the game. So take advantage of a very useful thing. Unfortunately, you got these stupid dragonflies coming at you constantly. They're much more dangerous than the paratrooper guys. So there's positives and negatives throughout this level. Unfortunately, yes. And again, like I've said 1,000 times, if you're not standing on rush jet, it won't use up the power. So, yeah. Allow me to emphasize how much I hate those godforsaken dragonflies, though. They're 10 times more annoying than the parachuters, and the parachuters are annoying too. Oh, they're annoying. But the dragonflies, oh, they can go burning where you know where. They freaking suck. I hate them so much. Like the way they beeline at you and everything. Ugh. And then you get these guys that think they're doing a pole vault. They're annoying. They saw them earlier in the game. Now you get the screen where it moves slowly because you're going to get a gigantic hard hat, a really cool graphic. You'll see multiple ones of these. Shoot them right in the red cross. That's evil. But yeah, you shoot them right in the red cross, and yeah, that's how you beat the gigantic hard hats. Really nice graphics on those sons of guns, but you do want to get rid of them really quick because otherwise they're very, very annoying. And yes, the regular shot works totally fine on those giant hard hats. Then you get coptering hard hats. Oh, that'd be kind of cool. Remember how when some of us were little kids, you go way back in the day, you had those little hats with helicopters? Weren't they cute and everything? Weren't they fun? You always imagined you could fly on that thing, just using your imagination. Well, these guys can fly. It's a hard hat, plus they're a lot smaller than, say, a kid would be. Thankfully, they're generous and kind enough to give you a large energy palette before you get to Crash Man, Clash Man, whatever the man he is. He's the man, and you gotta beat him, plain and simple. And what's the one major weapon we have not used yet since since we've gone to these Mega Man 2 Doc Robot stages? The Hard Knuckle. Well, that's the one that works on Crash Man. Final time you'll hear this song on this episode. Good old Crash Man. Well, I guess it figures that it would be a darker sky because Crash Man is like in the outer space when you get higher up and all that. Remember that level? Kind of fun. Kind of cool. The Hard Knuckle does not move very fast, but it does do a lot of damage, thankfully. This guy moves faster than I remember. Man, he's not quite as fast as Quick Man, but he is fast. Interestingly, though, you can direct the Hard Knuckle. They're like little missiles, but your shots don't always make contact. But when they do, like Jose Canseco, they do a lot of damage. Now we get to fight Breakman one-on-one again. How exciting is that? And this time he's actually you actually get the boss music and that cute whistle. It's in like what looks like the Hard Man stage, basically, but it's a one single screen boss type of one-on-one Mega Man combat style. Well, I'm not going to play the boss music again. It's not too hard. You just shoot away with your regular shot, and then you get Dr. Light with his classic line in the really cool high-tech place saying, "Oh no, right after we received the last element, Wily ran off with Gamma." Well, of course he did. Remember we talked about that in the introduction? Away he goes, flying away to his castle in his little transporter thingy-mabobby. Isn't it cute? Well, it's a UFO. It's a flying saucer. It's pretty small, though. If he's it's like only twice as large as him, practically. Like, you couldn't even fit two people in the dang thing. Cool looking castle. You can hear the castle music, and then ultimately the beginning song and the first two stages of the Dr. Wily levels. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Now that, ladies and gentlemen, is what I call music. That is awesome. It always, because back when I was first kind of really into this kind of game and such, that was kind of like when I first started getting into these type of games, the Twins were in the World Series and stuff, you know what I mean? And this music absolutely hit the spot, like playoff run, World Series, or American League Championship Series. So anytime any Minnesota team goes on a playoff run, hopefully without heartbreak, but so far it's been heartbreak, is this song. It's like, this is like the first round or 2 rounds or whatever, and it's just like, it's the beginning of a long playoff run. Yeah, yes, I'm a sports fan, yes. Not every gamer out there, retro or current, is much of a sports fan, but I am. So opening things out, you see that Dr. Wily, Dr. W logo all over the place, kind of like Pizza Hut plastered all over Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game, which might be coming up very soon. We'll see. I'm still deciding on that one. Yes, it's all over the place. You're seeing those Top Man guys from the Top Man level shooting their tops out. They're adorable. Another energy tank on the very first kind of area you get into. Then you can possibly get out the Rush Marine. You might want it. You don't really need it. That type of thing. It's up to you. There's spikes everywhere, but you can walk. It's not that scary as you get into the water areas. Remember, you can jump much higher than like normal. I will say the fish are extremely annoying, though. I'll file a complaint on that. Yeah, they kind of dive bomb at you, if that's possible for a fish to do. I think it's possible, yes. They're really annoying, actually. I don't like them. I don't like them. Okay, yeah. And then you see walls that are breakable. That's the hard knuckle. So that's kind of like the crash bomb in this game. One thing, though, there isn't a boss quite as technically frustrating as the cannons coming out of the walls, and you got to have just enough crash shots to be able to destroy everything. It's really annoying. You have to skip some walls just to get to the cannon, otherwise you're going to run out. Thankfully, you will not have a boss like that in this game, which again I think makes this game a little bit easier than Mega Man 2. Is busting through a wall to get a energy tank worth it? Let me answer in one word: yes. In a word, yes, very much so. It's an energy tank. It's kind of like an extra life within a life, especially like in a battle that might be kind of, dragging on, and you're like, man, I gotta hang in there. Energy tank. It's not cheating. It doesn't make you weak, but I suppose not everybody wants to use energy tanks, so they want to be Mr. Perfectionist or whatever. But, well, that's up to you what you want to do. Of course, be careful of the obnoxious spikes that are everywhere when you're trying to perform little cute strategies and such, trying to get rid of this hammer guy. It's up to you what you want to do, but be careful, that's all. Obviously, spikes kill you in one hit, which is freaking dumb, but that's part of the game. You know the rules. You know the rules, man. Appearing and disappearing platforms, yeah, they're annoying. You might end up using a little more of the rush jet than you were hoping, but you know what? At the very end of the level, guess what's up there? 2 very large weapon capsules. Fill up your rush jet if you happen to use up too much of it. You're unable to use the little jumping trick or whatever as much as you wanted. That way, well, you go through the door, you jump down into the water, and guess what? It's your first Dr. Wily stage boss, and you actually get different music unlike Mega Man 2. Check it out. Pretty epic music. What do you think? Instead of just the same boss music from the very first character you fight in the game, whether it's Metal Man or whoever, all the way up to the final fight with Dr. Wily, it's the same song? Like, what the heck? This one has Dr. Wily stage bosses. Mega Man 1 did that too, so that's why it's kind of weird that Dr. Wily didn't have a second song. I don't know if it's just lazy or what. I think they were kind of in a rush for production, if I remember correctly, when you listen to the what's it called? The Video Games 101, like the fluff facts or whatever, they talk about that. So, yep, I'm going to shout out to that guy pretty often. He's pretty cool. Professor Briggins. I should get him as a guest sometime. Well, anyway, the weapon of choice is the Shadow Blade. This machine dispenses these robotic turtles. You kill them with one shot with the Shadow Blade. Watch out for the little tornadoes coming out of the pipes that can push you into places you don't want to be. Similar to Mega Man 2, when you're fighting a very similar screen, remember those objects that are coming out of the walls to fight you? And I think it's that might be level 1 in Mega Man 2 also, where you use the metal blade or a different weapon, I can't remember. It gets faster and faster each time. So watch out for that. Everything gets faster and faster, more frustrating. Son of a biscuit ricochets off the wall like 50 times and you keep missing. So that's annoying. But you'll eventually be victorious and call it a day. Boy, it's tough. His movements are really obnoxious. Whew, but eventually, once you get to the last one that's bouncing all over the place, when you hit it, the machine upstairs or up above water blows up, and then you move on to the next stage in the Dr. Wily level. Same song again. It's like playoff action in the air. And you get these annoying like platforms that open up and can drop you, but who cares? You're not going to die. This level looks eerily similar to the obnoxious. In fact, it looks almost exactly the same. It probably is like you're back here, but it's like been remodeled by Dr. Wily and his crew, whatever. The level with the annoying monsters or the annoying boss coming out of the wall that you need to use the crash bomb on. That was a real tough one. It's designed almost the same. Yeah, it's pretty cool, but fear not. You don't have to deal with anything as obnoxious as that. Yes, and you can slide, which I think is more fun in this version. You will be using the rush net here too. You'll get the same characters that want to chomp you coming out of those tubes, and the bees. So it's kind of a little bit of a hard man looking monsters and setting and all that, even though it's inside a metallic technical castle of Dr. Wily. And as you're navigated through the spiky areas and such, just hopping up and down at the rush jet, you are just in awe at what a treasure trove this place is. You get all these large weapon capsules, you get multiple energy tanks. The only thing missing is like some energy pellets. Okay, there's little tiny ones that aren't all that helpful. And that stupid bee and all that kind of drained everything. Oh, and by the way, there's the boss area already. Okay, that was fast. Not bad, eh? Wait a minute, what's this place? It's a dark room, you're all by yourself. Oh no, not the rock monster. Oh no, and I don't have the elect bolt. Yeah, well, all you do is shoot the hard knuckle in his eye. It's actually easier than the Mega Man 1 version. Whew, hard knuckle, pull it out and punch that son of a gun in the eye. Ooh, Mike Tyson style, baby. And yes, let's listen to the music. Yes, the rock monster. I said it about 15 times. And yes, you will be using an energy tank against this guy, no matter how full your energy is, or unless you're just so good you don't need it. But it moves quickly. It's annoying. There were no energy tanks in Mega Man 1. That's another reason why the boss is easier this time around than last time around. Of course, the parts come slowly into the screen. It's extremely tedious, annoying. You lose your patience, especially people like me who just can't deal with nonsense like this at times. Oh my goodness, it's frustrating. You keep thinking he's going to be there. Yep, and you hit him in the eye, kind of like in Zelda with the Gomas, with the arrows and such. But you're going to get hit like 50 times unless you're just real good, I guess. Good part is, though, at least you can see the crap coming. Unlike his introduction, you can't see the stuff coming until it's like already flying at you. If you're able to jump in and get 2 shots with one session, that is freaking awesome. It makes everything easier. And I do like when he has the tumbling effect versus the piece-by-piece thing. Oh, it's so effing tedious. When the bastard blows up, you feel like $1,000,000. Woo-wee! And on you go to level 3 of the Dr. Wily's castle, and the music changes. Ooh. Wow, you thought the music was good the first 2 levels. This is awesome. Isn't this nice? Like, it's so intense. It's like you're in the conference finals, or something like that. That's kind of how I look at it. You're in the conference finals or whatever now. Maybe yeah. Like it would be like round 1, round 2 or something. Or maybe you're a NFL team with the number 1 seed and you get the first round bye. It's like the first song, now it's the conference, and then the next one's the final, the Super Bowl, or whatever it is. That's what I always felt like. This music really gets me going. It's awesome. As for the level itself, kind of similar looking to the last one. And yes, you'll be using Rush Jet, and yes, you can see, and there's going to be power-ups everywhere, which is exciting and fun and all that. And you get a lot of the similar enemies in previous levels. Looks like Top Man a little bit here at the beginning. Or is that Shadow Man? That guy's in Shadow Man's stage. Excuse me. Taking about 50 hits because of where he's located. How annoying. That's kind of how it works, though, in this game. Yep, even another energy tank, and of course you could use the hard knuckle to bust some walls down and get some, some of those weapon capsules, the large ones, of course, which will fill up the hard knuckle or whatever else you might want to go. It's obviously up to you. And I selected the wrong item when I wanted to go up, but I hardly use the rush coil anymore once I have the rush jet, but I just did now accidentally, I guess. Now you're getting in kind of the Shadow Man type area where you have that light sucking bulb, if that makes any sense, and those stupid grenade guys that blow up when you shoot them. This is where you wish the Shadow Blade was as convenient and as versatile as the Metal Blade, where you could shoot diagonally down. No, unfortunately you can't. It's really annoying. So you can't even shoot the stupid bulb until you go around to shoot it. It's... You get the obnoxious big jumping guys, whatever, and then the moving platforms of the spikes. It looks way harder than it is. It's easy. It's easy. I'm not that worried. Whenever I play this, I think when I first played through it, I was like, ooh, well, you can die. I almost did because I'm kind of semi-distracted, but okay. And then you get to the end and you get to, maybe jump up and bust a wall down with your hard knuckle to hit some question mark boxes. Why the heck not? Maybe you can power up first because I've only got like half power right now. So, yeah. Yet another 1-up and a large weapon capsule, but no energy. Damn. Oh, well. It is what it is. We'll see. Oh, it's the triplets. I forgot about these guys. So, it's triplets. One of the... well, let's listen to the music first. Sorry, I really like that song. Maybe I shouldn't keep playing it, but I can make it shorter. Hopefully, we'll see. But anyhow, the triplets. Only one of the Mega Man things you're shooting is actually real. You can only damage one at a time. The others are fake, kind of like when you're fighting Shredder in TMNT, the arcade game. Not dropping any hints or anything, but, well, maybe it's the next game, maybe it's not. I don't know. I'm still not even decided yet. Of course, when you're shooting at air and you're missing, you're always magically wrong. It's so annoying. Ugh. So satisfying though when you find the right one and you just want to penetrate, but that doesn't sound right. But yeah, it stayed the same one in the middle. Middle's kind of what you're in a lot of ways shooting for most of the time. And yeah, got him. So yay. That's the end of the triplets. Now we go to one more of these exciting songs. We're at the end of this stage. It's a pretty short one for the most part, and you get this background effect where you can walk behind the pipes. It's not you doing anything, it's just the way the game is designed. Bunch of energy capsules at the beginning to fill up whatever you need, because you might need it heading towards what we're going to fight coming up soon. It's basically a Gutsman type character where that same, metallic scrap, whatever, coming down, block, whatever, comes down from the ceiling for whatever reason. He catches it and chucks it at you like Gutsman. Yep. And I just realized I didn't play the epic level music again. Yeah, I'll play it again. Heck. Figured I better play it because it's the last time, it's the last time, I'm not going to play it a million times. Another question mark box, another one up. There's only about 5 million of those. 16 guys. I've died a few times already, believe it or not. Another Gutsman guy that's a little bit harder to reach, unfortunately, but you can kill him with your regular shots if you're aggressive with your button. Same with Mega Man cologne thingies, too. So, yes, you just use the regular shots, if you didn't know. Unfortunately, the debris from the damn block does get you, yes, which I've not mentioned yet, but even though I've been getting hit by it about 50 times. So once you get into what is the boss level, you will not be hearing the boss song this time, unless you want to hear the Mega Man ones again. You're going to go to a teleporter. That'll then take you to an area after you drop down, where there's 8 teleporters. What do you think is in those? It's the Mega Man 3 bosses again, but you have all the weapons to wipe them out. Yeah, easy peasy fun and all that good stuff. The background is kind of cool. I say just kind of go in whatever. It doesn't really matter as long as you have the weapons. I just kind of go left, top, down, and then up to the right. It's what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the left side first, top to bottom, then the bottom 2, and then I'm going to go back up to the right and then down. That's what I'm going to do. So the north, the highest up, right, whatever is, or left, is Needleman. Pull out that Gemini laser again. Yay. Thankfully, the Gemini laser does a ton of damage, and he's gone in 4 hits, and you do get a large energy pellet thingy. Now we go to the second thing, like the middle teleporter. That one is Magnet Man. Spark Shock. We didn't get to use it last time. And away we go, as Garfield would say when he opened the door for all the other cats. Yes, and don't be afraid to use an energy tank if you need to. Who cares? You're going to be fine. It's just maybe you just kind of go off. You kind of get off your game a little bit. As long as you have like 3, 4 or something for the final boss, you're going to be fine. Honest to God, you will be. Or maybe I should have just let myself die and came back with full power. What was I thinking? Now it's, of course, the bottom left. That is Gemini Man. Get your search snake out and start searching with snakes, which is really weird, but it does a lot of damage. Of course, if you miss, guess what happens? Well, it's going to screw around for a little while. Not as bad as the Gemini laser, but fitting that the weapon you use to kill Gemini Man has a similar effect where if you miss, it's really annoying. But, of course, missing in anything is bad, like missing free throws and missing field goals. We don't even want to think about that around here at all. No. So now we go to the left of the middle bottom teleporters, and you have Mr. Hardman. Let's whip out that magnet missile, bombs away, all that cute stuff. That's all you got to do. Fire. Does a decent amount of damage, but you're going to miss sometimes because it's not perfectly accurate. And if you run out, whip out the regular shot and fire like a maniac from somewhere. And he finally dies after about 550 hits. Yeah, I counted them all, so yeah. Now we go to the the bottom right, middle right, top man, hard man. Yeah, pull out the hard knuckles and punch away and all that cute stuff. Make sure you're not pressing the directional pad when you shoot, which is really annoying because then you end up missing. So careful with that. It's weird how sometimes the game glitches when you kill the bad guy because you don't see any of the debris coming out. And it's like you're in kind of like a shooting motion. It's kind of weird. So anyhow, the top right is going to be Snake Man. Needle cannon. Let's needle the son of a gun. You know, that's what you do here. Does a lot of damage, but if he makes contact with you, he does a lot of damage too, which is freaking stupid, but I don't know. It screwed up everything. Yeah, it makes everything harder later, but it's okay. Whatever. We have plenty of guys. Okay, so the right middle teleporter, if I ever get there, would be nice, is Mr. Sparkman. So that must mean the last one's going to be Shadow Man just by default. So yes, Sparkman, pull out the Shadow Blade. Yes. Also, one insanely annoying thing is that if you kill him over the where the teleporter is, you know the energy pellet stays there, and you might accidentally teleport out before getting the energy pellet. That did happen just now, and bullshit. So anyhow, Shadow and the top and all that good stuff sucks. Again, when you're making contact with Shadow Man, make sure you're not too far away or you're not too close, because it'll eat up the whole thing. It's weird. It's like, again, like, you're too close. You're making too much contact. So try to keep a tiny distance, like it's almost like you're punching them kind of as you're spinning. You're less likely to have your whole energy drained. And yeah. Then when you exit, you get a bunch of tiny little, what are they called, weapon capsules. Unfortunately, the top did get drained, which is really annoying. I mean, the guy got close to me as I was spinning and ate up all of it, but still managed to kill him with the last little bar. It's kind of cool. Your magnets are drained, top is drained. The stuff you really need going forward are the Shadow Blade and the Search Snake. That's probably your top priority. And of course, Rush Jet, which luckily is full in my case. And then it's time for the first skull level, and you get it's the final, it's the end. The creepy music in a way. It's a very short level. It's pretty much just jumping into the boss right away. But yep, you do have big energy capsules and some question mark boxes as well that you can fill up your weapons if you need to. So like hard knuckle possibly. And yeah. Spark Shock actually is a priority. So yeah, Spark Shock, that's a big one. Yep, and you should be able to fill it up, hopefully. So don't worry about like top and stuff. One dinky little thing. That's funny. Get a dinky little. Yep, that's what I got for one of the the question mark boxes. That's kind of disappointing. But yes, what you want to have is the Rush Jet filled up, the Spark, the Shadow, and the Search Snake. Those are your priorities. Rush Jet, yes, because you're going to need Rush Jet in the final battles. Yes, absolutely. Well, it is what it is. And when you're ready to jump down, yeah, and then you get into the boss, and it's the first version of Wily. Music commence. First things first, as the massive contraction comes out, get the Spark Shock out. You're going to want to shoot the bottom area when it finally reveals itself. Yeah, I'm still waiting for the darn thing to come in. And yeah, it's the bottom cannon thingy. It looks like something you wouldn't want to imagine it being. But Oh, son of a biscuit. But yes, then the Dr. Wily, or what appears to be Dr. Wily up there in his capsule, you're going to use Rush Jet and fire away with your regular shots, obviously. Chances are you're going to get hit, but yep, luckily I didn't need an energy tank in this battle. You defeat him by just kind of turbo shooting, with even though you're not turbo. Dr. Wily appears to be begging for forgiveness. It was a robot. So yes, big surprise. I'm so surprised that there's another level. Yeah, that boss wasn't that hard. Now it's the real finale of all. Energy tank, extra guy, 2 large weapon capsules. Well, you know what to do. Fill stuff up. You're going to need Rush Jet for sure. You're going to need, well, yeah, you're going to need stuff. Yeah, so fill up the Rush Jet if you can. Fill up, Shadow Blade. You're going to definitely need that. That's funny. You get the energy pellets when you don't need them. That's funny. Why do I need those when I'm not in the battle yet? It's kind of dumb and funny at the same time. Extra life, which is great, and an energy tank, which is great. And basically you jump on in. I'm just wasting Rush Jet to get the energy tank. That's funny. But it was very little. You go in, and the very final battle hath commenced. Da-da-da-da-da. Well, this is what the peacekeeping robot is. I guess it's some big, gigantic thing. I don't know if it looks like a giant flashman or something. I don't know what it is. But supposedly this thing is supposed to keep peace, I guess? Well, maybe because everybody would be too scared to do anything. It'll crush you with one punch if you're a regular human being. But thankfully you're Mega Man. And, well, that top area, you can shoot it with the Spark Shock. Or not Spark Shock, the Shadow Blade. Fire, fire, fire. If you can get right in the middle and just keep shooting up with your Shadow Blade, he's going to miss you every time, which is great. And then what you got to do, this is the final of all finals now. He stays half gone, so he doesn't refill like he did in the last battle. That's nice. But this is much harder. You can use Rush Jet to get up to the platform or wait for the monster robot to try to punch you, jump on it, and get up to the platforms. Have the Search Snake equipped and shoot Dr. Wily in the window, whatever, with the Search Snake. Keep doing it, repeating, rinse, repeat. You only get a shot or two in each time, but eventually you will be victorious. Note the fist has spikes on the side and in the upper right area. So avoid the spikes at all costs. The big spikes, I do believe, let me see it, can damage you, but they won't kill you on the soldier, like the horns, basically. The big giant bean that kind of comes at you from where Wily is, it'll do a significant amount of damage, unfortunately. So try to avoid it as best possible, just like any other, projectile coming your way. Do not be stingy with energy tanks. It's the final frickin' battle. What are you saving them for? So I recommend saying bleep the fist, because oftentimes, you see, the thing's moving. You're going to hit your head and just go back down. It's really annoying and stupid. You can actually also use the top spin if you have any left. You probably won't. That's actually the first weapon I ever saw damage that stupid Wily part at the top. But Search Snake is more effective. It gets the job done, and it doesn't take nearly as much energy to do. I've only had 2 successful attacks on Wily up there so far, and he's already basically one more attack away from being destroyed, basically. And when the SOB blows up, it feels like $1 million because you did it. This time it's real. Dr. Wily's begging for forgiveness, and yes, things start to get a little bit interesting. Stuff starts coming down, like as if the place is collapsing, sort of, kind of. This guy that looks like Breakman says, "Where's Dr. Wily?" Oh no, it's too late. So yes, he breaks apart the thing that hit you and takes you away. You're Mega Man. You get hit, and Wily gets hit. Otherwise, Dr. Wily says, "Mega Man, you regained consciousness. I found you lying here when I arrived." Like, how did you get here? Yep, he was unconscious. I wonder who brought you here. And then the whistle starts playing. This whistle, it must have been Proto Man. And the ending music commences. Do enjoy. Congratulations, you've beaten Mega Man 3. What a satisfying song. So yep, it showed Elect Man, it shows Elect Man, Fireman, like model number 8, now number 7, number 6 is Bomberman, Ground Disruption Robot, Iceman, Antarctic Investigation Robot, cool, number 5. Number 4, Gutsman, Wilderness Reclamation Robot, okay. Cutman, number 3, Timber Felling Robot, yep. Funny, we're walking by trees about that time. Roll, Housekeeping Robot, that's that blonde girl in the Mega Man cartoon. Number 1, Mega Man, former assistant to Dr. Light. And then 000, new prototype, brother of Mega Man. That would be Breakman. Yep. Or not Breakman, but Proto Man. And then there's an image of him smiling off in the distance with his motorcycle-looking helmet. And cool. And then the other final music starts playing, the staff music, where they talk about Needleman and such. What an incredibly satisfying game. What an incredibly satisfying game. So now they're saying number 13, number 20, and all that. So you didn't see Mega Man 2 numbers, but I guess you can kind of add the math in. But what this also tells you, why were they talking about the Mega Man 1 robots, and then eventually got to Roll, you know, the blonde girl, you know, and Mega Man, and eventually Proto Man. It's kind of like, in a lot of ways, Proto Man is basically lore, and Mega Man is data. If you watch Star Trek The Next Generation, lore was created first. Unfortunately, just like in Star Trek, the Proto Man does go bad. At least I think he does. Proto Man does go bad in the Mega Man cartoon. So it calls Mega Man his idiot brother or whatever, which I don't know why you do that. Mega Man was more successful. So it's just jealousy, son of a gun. But that's in the cartoons. In this game, he's still like a good guy, I guess, because it's the first time you ever see him. The music is incredibly satisfying. Even the stars in the background, the way they animate is pretty cool. What a fun game. But what also tells you again, like, and it is part of the story, where the Mega Man 1 characters at the very least, the Robot Masters, were not created by Dr. Wily. They were created by Dr. Light. Dr. Wily stole them, basically, and reprogrammed them. So, and then he eventually recreated, or created his own robots, like in Mega Man 2 and 3. It's kind of like what the person that stole all the information for what became Microsoft and Apple. You know, Steve Jobs and Mr. Bill Gates. Pretty big reason why I'm not a huge fan of either one of them. They're not good. Like, thinking about it, Dr. Wily did the same kind of thing. You know, they stole the idea, turned it into something. Well, I guess Apple and Microsoft aren't necessarily bad. It's just, but they made a huge profit off of it and kind of stole someone else's idea. But, well, they're not destroying the world yet, but maybe they'll be used for that at some time in the not-too-distant future. Otherwise, the peacekeeping robot, for some reason, Dr. Light was forgiving enough that he was willing to work with Dr. Wily after Mega Man 1 and 2. Are you kidding me? After all those events, he was willing to work with him to create a peacekeeping robot? Of course, Wily was going to turn it bad, like steal that item called Gamma, and that kind of changed everything. That was like the top part of that peacekeeping robot. That was kind of the final piece, basically. So yeah, satisfying in so many ways. Graphics, 5. Music, above 5. Gameplay, above 5. Replay value, 5. This is a across-the-board elite Rushmore level Mega Man game. It is the best Mega Man game of all time, in my opinion. You know how, like I said earlier at the beginning of the show, Super Castlevania 4 is like how that's Angry Video Game Nerd's favorite Castlevania game, right? Well, it's similar that way in this, where it's like you're in control. You have Rush Jet. You control Rush Jet. Whereas in later games, when you get on Rush Jet, it just kind of goes forward like Item 2 in Mega Man 2. It's just like a rocket kind of thing that just, once you're on it, it just does a straight line thing, at least from what my knowledge was, where this one, you are in control. Just like you can crouch and still whip. You can crouch and still walk in Castlevania 4. You can whip in all different directions. You can even do a Michael Jackson walk going up the stairs backwards. It's so cool in that game. And yes, we will be reviewing that for a Halloween special maybe 2 years from now, at the most soon, if I don't have something else interrupt the Castlevania series. But yeah, we're not talking about Castlevania right now. It's just that at the same time, in relation to Mega Man 3, Castlevania 4 has that kind of relation where you're in control. And that's what I love about Mega Man 3 so much. Not to mention the music is just unbelievable in this game. So I'm just I'm just gushing about this one because it's just nothing can beat it. Nothing's going to beat Mega Man 3 in my opinion. And when like the X games came out later on for Super Nintendo, like wow, Mega Man on Super Nintendo, disappointing. Sorry, you don't have to agree with me. Mega Man 4, and they brought out that Mega Buster where you charge it up. Disappointing. They made it unnecessarily harder with that, I think. They some people say they made the game easier, and Mega Man 3 is too damn hard. I think the only hard part is, in general, that might be annoying to people, that they said also was the Doc Robot stages. It's kind of unnecessary, but it was a fun way to kind of bring back the Mega Man 2 characters as like prototypes in a Doc Robot. Yes, those levels are hard, but if you're prepared and ready to go, they're not so bad. And you do have the weapons to use. You just have to, unfortunately, maybe you have to use a player's guide or figure it out on your own. Whereas back in the day, I was spoiled a little bit with the Nintendo Power Mega Man 3 back in 91. So, or late 90, early 91-ish, around there. But, man, it made the whole thing so much fun and so satisfying. And that's arguably the greatest Nintendo Power ever. Other than, say, the Mario 3 Player's Guide, like the first ever single-game Player's Guide they ever made. Beautiful thing. It's like a Nintendo Power style. It doesn't have the thicker cover, like the NES Atlas and the Game Boy whatever, Game Boy Atlas or whatever it was called. It had a different name. But just kind of, unbelievable memories going back to the very early 90s. Unfortunately, the 80s were already over. But it was the beginning of the 90s, and what a way to start a decade, with games like Mega Man 3 and, obviously Castlevania 3 and such, and all those beautiful player's guides like the NES Atlas and such. It's just, it's a time I wish I could have back again. As much, but, I mean, I'd like to have the 80s back even more so, but at least the early 90s still were pretty damn cool. It was a great way to start the 90s. Of course, obviously, once we got to 95-ish and beyond, it was like never the same again. It's never been the same. Now, would I take 95 today over what's going on over 2024? Hell yes. But, 25, 30 years later now. Can you believe it? 2025? Hell yes. But still, pales in comparison, even like 91-ish, 92, pales in comparison. Things had dropped off in quality so much. Just look at the cartoons and even the games, so the graphics got better, but were the games better? Were they as enjoyable? I don't think so. There's some exceptions, obviously, Tales of Destiny and such. We'll review that someday. But here I go, kind of going on and on. But in a way, that's kind of what this is all about. Just enjoying it. Memories that last a lifetime. And this game absolutely provides that. Like, this is a game that will last a lifetime in terms of memories. And I'd play this when I'm 85 years old. Hey, look at this. Do you like it? Hey, come on, look at this. You like this? Look at that. Isn't that fun? Yeah, it is fun. It's still fun. Still fun at 45. 45 years old. I played this first when I was, I think, 11. And I enjoy it as much at 45 as I did as 11. Arguably more in a way, because of it's just, well, maybe not. I mean, the first couple times, it's like you're just almost in tears how much you love it. Even though you get frustrated and when you lose. Whereas now you can beat it so much easier because, you know what to do. Where back then, maybe you didn't, or you hadn't developed the timing and such. Or some of us, maybe you haven't played the game in forever, and you've lost the timing, and now you can't beat games that you could beat back in the day. So that's the funny part. Or you're used to the 3D style and modern games, and then you go back to these and you're like, what the heck? Why is this so hard now? Because your timing is different. It's like muscle memory. It's like maybe you were a great volleyball player when you were 12 and you've been playing basketball for 30 years and haven't picked up a volleyball. You'll be like, what the heck happened? I can't play. Yeah, that's what it's like. Like even if you were like a state champion or something, but you haven't picked up a ball in 30 years. Yeah, that's how it works sometimes. But I've had practice. I've played retro games forever because to me they never got old. They're more enjoyable to me than modern games. That's just a fact. That's why Video Game Flashback exists. It's not because I want to pull out the Wii or the Wii. Yeah, even the Wii, even the Wii's kind of retro now. But the Switch, the PS5, the PS whatever, Xbox One. I only get those for if I ever get a newer system. It's usually to play retro games on it. If it's got a nice setup for some kind of for like to put a lot of retro games on or whatever, or like a really nice remake that still keeps the gameplay of the earlier game. It's not like totally different. Like imagine Mega Man in 3D style or whatever. I'd be like, this isn't fun though. This isn't fun anymore. Stuff like that. Like, Zelda Link's Awakening. I still never have gotten around to that on the Switch because I don't have a Switch anyway. So, okay, too many rabbit holes here. With that, I better move on and let Derek and others potentially have something to say about this incredible game in the feedback segment. And we are back here on Video Game Flashback, segment number 3, the feedback segment. I'm about to say the fan interaction or Brave the Wild or something, especially by seeing a familiar name, Derek Felska from Brave the Wild. But yes, we're both retro gamers. We've said that many times, I'm sure. On X, at VGF_podcast, at VGF_podcast. And as the show continues to grow, I really appreciate it when people put hashtag VGFB to keep things in order. Chronological and all that. So it's all on the same podcast and it's not from a different show or anything. But, it helps a lot. Always hoping for more and more of you to comment because I know some of you are seeing this, some of you that are listening see it. Yeah, don't be afraid to comment on the game. And maybe you didn't play it much, but you'd think Mega Man 3, there's going to be more people have played that one. But Derek clearly has a lot to say here, which is awesome. Coming out of Western Wisconsin, obviously from Elk River locally, but works and lives in Western Wisconsin now with his career. So continuing to Derek Pelska at Crease and Assist, does a great job with a Minnesota Wild podcast. Great job there. Similar to Brave the Wild, but they have their own vibe there. It's an amazing job. So anyhow, Derek says Mega Man 3 was not the first one I played. The original was. Sorry, I'm looking at it funny. But Mega Man 3 was my favorite by far. Cool. Yep. Mega Man 3 is my favorite by far also. Derek continues saying, I remember renting the game. Yeah, me too. That's how I started it at the beginning. I remember renting the game and spending a week in the summertime with my cousin, armed with the boss and weapon chart from Nintendo Powers. Yeah, classified information we had. Yeah, see, this is exactly the same story. I wonder if it was 91. The 90 or 91. I'm mixed in my head. It was the summer. I think it was 90. Yeah, I think it was the summer of 90, not 91. Summer of 90, I do believe. Or was it 91? I'm so screwed up in my head right now. Yeah, I think it was 91. Sorry. But yeah, such an amazing feeling playing that. Yeah, I wonder if it was the same summer of 91. So let's continue. Yep, the Nintendo Powers classified information. We had, make sure this is in order. We had in order to which levels to go to first. Yeah, because of the weapons and everything. Continuing, the distinctive music of each stage and its level design was always such a treat. Yeah, everything looked complete. Yeah, they all had their own vibe. It'd be like a foggy. I'm just imagining a foggy forest over here, a high-tech metallic-looking, indoor place here. I'm just making that up, but I mean, you get the idea. It's so different. I used to listen to Top Man's stage music for hours and hours as a kid because I loved it so much. Yeah, what was my favorite? Magnet Man. Magnet Man was mine when it came to the top, like the 8 robots. So it's a bummer that they didn't have Top Man or Magnet Man for one of the Doc Robot stages, so we could play it more than once. But Magnet Man was my favorite of those. Otherwise, the Wily music is just incredible. Continuing, Derek says, my cousin and I would take turns trying to help each other out by watching the life bar and advising whether we needed to use an energy tank or not. Sometimes you get kind of caught up in the heat of battle, in those boss fights. Yep. I remember the time spent timing up the disappearing platforms. Oh, God, in Magnet Man's level. Yeah, it's really hard. Music's great, but the level stinks. Yep. Armed with the boss and weapon chart, which told us exactly how many hits. Yeah, isn't that cool? For each boss with whatever weapon we normally could get through the main bosses with little trouble. Yep. Usually the hardest one is the first one because you have to, shoot it with regular shots. Yeah. After that, all bets were off going into Dr. Wily's castle. Talk about stress. Well, yep. But hopefully my tricks with the rush chat will help people that maybe are new to the game. It's a pretty nice trick. Trial and error or a few rage throws of a controller as you... Yeah, there's especially the bosses. The bosses can drive you nuts. Or a few rage throws throwing the controller as you work your way through. Capcom had figured out the perfect blend of fun, challenge, and twist to keep you coming back for more. I remember devouring Girl Scout cookies, Samoas, while watching, while playing this. Then he's got the images here. He's got images of, it's Mega Man there on a blanket, on the wall, next to a rampage. That's cool. Oh, and he's got Mega Man characters also, little figures. That's cool. That's cool. Kind of like turtles, you know what I mean? But there's smaller little things. Oh, yeah, that's the rock monster with the big eye. Dr. Wily. Looks like... Who is that? That's Elect Man, I'm thinking. Bomberman, Fireman. That's cool. That's a really cool looking basement. It looks kind of like the title of the... It looks kind of like the logo of the podcast. That looks really nice. Huh. Continuing. This is part 6 now, tweet number 6. The sliding mechanic, introduced to Mega Man 3 was a nice touch, as well as the introduction of Rush, to help you move along. It was great too. The soundtrack of Mega Man 2 gets a lot of love, but I would argue, level per level, that Mega Man 3 was even better. I would too. And Mega Man 2 is a nice, strong silver metal, like gold-plated silver metal, but Mega Man 3 takes the gold. Yes, I agree. Final part here, Spark Man, Snake Man, Gemini Man, Magnet Man, Needle Man, Shadow Man, and Top Man were just great stages and tunes. And I haven't even mentioned the fantastic intro song yet. Yeah. Oh, other than Mega Man games, after it just couldn't match the magic of Mega Man 3. Sounds like we had a very similar experience and have very similar feelings with this game. Yep, so... You must absolutely love this episode, and I hope you did. And I absolutely love doing it, Eric. I mean, this game it's insanely special. Just like I was saying, Mega Man X, it's just like, it's okay. I don't know. And then even Mega Man 4 is like, you're so excited, like, okay, here we go. A little bit newer, new vibe, new monster, new Robot Masters, and great music. Well, yeah, there's new Robot Masters, and the music was really good. But it wasn't as good. Like, say, the AVGN going from Castlevania 4 to Castlevania Bloodlines. Very good, but not as good. Not as good. Whereas Mega Man 2 is just a little bit older. That was kind of like the Castlevania 1 in a way, where it's insanely classic and awesome. Where Mega Man 1 is almost like a prototype. Like, say, imagine Castlevania, there's like a prototype, and there kind of was. Was it like MSX or something? It was kind of like an older version, like called Vampire Hunter or whatever. I know we talked about that a year and change ago when I did the Castlevania 1 episode. Yep, there's gonna be some Castlevanias coming. There's gonna be more Mega Mans, but yes, this is that one Mega Man game. Every series has a game that stands out more than the others. You just have a different vibe with it than the others, and this is the one here. This is the one, like Mario 3, I think, for Mario. Yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun to do. even though I have great memories of 2. Great memories of 2. I have great memories of Mario 1. Great memories of Mario Land 2. That was the best Game Boy one, in my opinion. I mean, I enjoyed the heck out of doing that episode last year. So, yes, this one, it's just a legend, and that's the way I kept looking. Remember, I kept talking about Target and $49.99, and then 2 months later, $49.99, $49.99, $49.99. Oh my God, is it ever going to be like $30 bucks, $29.99? Come on, please. Are you ever going to bring the price down? $49.99, but it was brand new. I kind of, but see, back then, $49.99, like 91, 92, it was like equivalent of like 80, 90 bucks now. That's a lot of money just for one game. It's a lot of money. It's the equivalent about that, right? I even did the little calculator earlier. It's expensive. I think it's over 100 bucks actually. So imagine forking over 100 bucks, So, the equivalent of it, like 50 bucks was a lot of money in the early 90s. And just like these old, what was it, an old movie? I forgot what the heck it's called. Really nice movie. Like the star from like the Herbie movies in the 70s, the main guy who was Jim Douglas, but like the same actor, not the same character. Yeah, it was like the 70s in that movie. And this neighbor kid wanted to sell his dog to, the main character's kid, whatever, for 50 bucks. And he's like, $50? How am I going to get 50 bucks? He was saying that to his son. How am I going to come up with 50 bucks, buddy? It's like, yeah, you have it, but that doesn't mean you have to spend it, though. That'd be like, I don't know, that's a lot in the 70s. Hundreds and hundreds. Yeah, he just looked at the kid like, really, man? Like the neighbor kid, like, that's kind of greedy. Jeez. You're just a kid, too. What are you spoiled, rotten little son of a gun. But there I go down a really weird rabbit hole. But at the same time, this game, it's maintained its value. It must have been selling because of that. But then again, it just felt like it just kept hanging there. Maybe they just didn't care. Like, nope, you're not getting it for anything cheaper. We're not going down. And eventually it's like I had to settle for a used one without the brand new box and the manual. You got a beat up box, and I don't think I ever got the manual. Got a beat to hell box. It was like, what was it, Mr. Movies, I believe? There's Mr. Movies, there's Hollywood Video, and there's Video Update. And of course, Bigelow Video is the legendary one. But I don't think I was able to buy too many games from that place. In fact, I don't think I own a single one. They did sell stuff later on when they were, done. When they were closing, and that was a huge shame. Huge shame. Bigelow Video. That's where a lot of my best memories of rental came from. But then, there was still Mr. Movies, Video Update, and all that. By then, the NES games were, like, older, but they still had them for a while, and then eventually they got too good for it, and they sold it. And it's like, oh, 15 bucks for Mega Man 3. Yeah, it's kind of an old beat-up thing, but it works perfectly fine. So, yeah, 15 bucks versus 50. Done. Like, snap of a finger. And I was working. I was making a lot of money back then, I was at McDonald's, yeah. Like, it was like 95, I was working at McDonald's, so... Well, it is what it is. At least I was making something. I don't have to go, Mommy, can I get this? Mom, can I get that? Yeah, or like allowance or whatever, cutting the grass, which, you got paid a little bit, but it wasn't that much. And I don't know. The lawn service, in the early days was pretty small, and we didn't make that much. So, and my brother was, kind of, my brother didn't necessarily want me around that much either. So there was that. But anyhow, with the lawn service anyway. But anyhow, with that said, this was an absolute pleasure. I'm probably going on a little too long. And Derek, thank you so much for sharing your memories. Anyone else out there that wants to talk about Mega Man 3 that's like, oh, shoot, I missed this, you can still talk about it. You can still talk about any game that I've reviewed in the past, or the upcoming game that I'm about to announce. Yep, I did come to the decision, yes, and I wouldn't be recording this segment if I hadn't decided yet. That's the whole point. You want to talk about any of the previous games, or again, the upcoming one, like how Derek often does when he hears me announce. He's like, okay, here we go. You want to talk about combat. You want to talk about Super Mario Brothers. You want to talk about Mega Man 1, Mega Man 2, or this one, or whatever, Castlevanias, anything that I've reviewed in the past. You have any comment, one comment or several comments, you're more than welcome to jump on board here on VGF_podcast. Put in the hashtag VGFB and let's talk. Let's have some fun. I'd love to hear from you. Encourage your friends. Share this with your friends if you could, please. Please do. This show still needs to kind of, it's still kind of, making its way It's a tiny, 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 cute little plant trying to make its way to the sunlight so it can start growing. It's trying to make its way towards sunlight. It's having a heck of a time because there's too many podcasts out there. That's all. It's not because I'm upset at anybody. It's just the way it is. There's too many podcasts out there. So, and I'm, kind of late to the party, even though I could have been one of the earlier ones if I actually did this back in '08 and kept it going. Who knows what this show would be doing today if I started it back in '08. But that's just a reality I have to face. With that said, the announcement of the next game. I kept dropping hints at something. And then I'm like, I didn't even realize why I was dropping hints at it. I was thinking, yeah, I'll probably do that later. No, I am going to do Turtles 2, the arcade game, for the NES. But Turtles 2, the arcade game, I am going to save. I'm going to reserve the right to save a completely separate episode for the actual arcade game, which I do have on the Xbox 360. And, that one's one that was purchased and everything, so I'll probably use that. Otherwise, I could use the, what the heck is that thing called? Super Console X as well. But I'm going to probably use the Xbox 360's version, which is obviously the direct port and everything, but it's like, it's HD, looks a little better. So, yeah. No, the SN, it uses HDMI, but some of the games don't really look HD, though. So it's kind of weird. But yes, Turtles 2, the arcade game, the NES game, and that's it. I will not be reviewing the arcade. I'll talk about it a tiny bit, because I'm almost forced to. But, yeah, that's going to be the idea. And that game was a freezing cold January game when we first got it, around 1990. So, actually, before Mega Man 3. And I remember around the same time, those are my two favorite two of my favorite things around that time. Turtles and Mega Man. Around 90, 91, around there, 92. These are a few of my favorite things. Yeah. Before I got hard into full-on RPGs. I loved Zelda in the summer of 91. I'll probably review that like April coming up, spring, summer. But yeah, I got into a lot of cool games around that same time. Man, so many good vibes in like 91-ish. Obviously 89 and all that as well, but and then the really old arcade games in the 80s. Lots of fun. Old classic Golden Age type games. And Atari and such. Slightly later bloomer than I would have liked, but we didn't have the game system yet. So that's just the harsh reality of it all. We didn't have the game system until 88, 89, which I talked about in the Super Mario Brothers episode. Yep. So yeah, we'll be getting into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game for NES. Cowabunga, dudes. Yep. Pizza time. Pizza time. Well, that's in the arcade, but I'll still say it because it's awesome. With that, though, thank you again. Please share this with your friends if you could. Word of mouth really, really helps. Positive 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and other apps that maybe allowed you to do that. Please help. Hit the like button on YouTube. Join the YouTube if you can as well. They're out there. The links are in the show description. So God bless all of you. Thank you. Welcome to 2025. We're going to be saying Cowabunga Dude next, and always stay retro.